Welcome, welcome, welcome to Liberal 12th Man Show. I'm Liberal 12th Man. And let me just say this from the depths of my heart. I appreciate it if you are here with me today. Big up, Ends. How you doing, brother? I just got done, actually, Ensman TV. So big shout out to Ensman TV for allowing for me to participate. I know it's 1 o'clock in the morning in Liverpool. So if my brethren in the UK are unable to rock this session with me, I understand completely, and I will hold nothing against you with the gripes or anything like that. Like I said, big up to the Irishman. I know I was saying how I know it's late, but I just wanted to, I'm glad that you guys are able to just come on and show love, even if you watch it on the replay. Big up to everyone. So how you doing, Irishman?
Hey, how we doing? All good?
Good, yeah.
Interesting evening.
Interesting evening, to say the least. I don't particularly like going on panels that are like 5, 6, 7, if not 8 sometimes man panels, because it's very difficult.
Squares.
Yeah, it is. It's Hollywood Squares. It is. It really is. I'll take.
Who's the guy up in the corner?
I'll take Savage. I'll take Savage for the block in the corner. No, just kidding. Right?
Yeah, but
big shout out.
Who's the guy on the bottom left? He hasn't said anything in about 45 minutes. Who's that?
Yeah, I know. But it's all good. It's all good. That's because Ends Vans TV is a big station, a big channel.
Well, so, I think he was just flexing, showing he could fill up the 10.
Maybe so. He's got to do the cut at 9. He's got to do the cut at 9. That way we'll have the perfect Hollywood Squares boxes. I would like that. And then we can do it where, like, if a person gets the right answer, they get an X or an O or something. Just kidding.
No, I know he said he was cutting out, and fair play to him. He sent the bulk of his audience over to Jamie and all that. So Jamie's having a say tonight on a few things. Apparently he's got
no worries. But yeah, it's been showed love by showing by.
But no, I just want to say ends. I know the boys do listen in sometimes, and if you are listening, I see I lost my mod. I think that's pretty cool. I'm not going to forget that.
Oh,
I may not sleep tonight. I know it's pretty cold. It's icy.
Bro. Can't be doing
That's
that.
pretty icy. No, I know. I haven't been in a while, and I get it. I haven't been in a while, but I mean, it cuts deep. It cuts deep. That's all I'm going to say. Cuts deep.
Yeah.
But I know it again. Hey man, look, it was a great show. That was Ends has been away for a couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah.
But that was. Look, I know you'll probably talk about some topics that came up. That was, in fairness, it was a good show. It was fun.
Yeah, I mean, like, look,
fun to watch.
It's fun. I mean, like, it's fun. It's fun. Big up, G. Big up, G.
Fired.
I know. Shots fired. Shots fired. Shots fired. I got you. Big up. Yeah, but I mean, like, it's much. It's what do they call it? Must see TV. Big up to JK for joining us today too. By the way, big up.
Best up, bro.
How we doing,
Easy, man.
Sorry,
yeah, I mean, like, look, it's one of those things where, like, on this platform especially, you're going to have a lot of people that they want to either hear their opinions just regurgitated, I guess you could say, in essence, and validated, or some people do look for the kind of fights or arguments that sometimes boil up to the top, and like sometimes it's just a matter of, hey, as long as we can have a discourse and be able to, allow for each other to speak and allow for each other to go back and forth and try to make our points and all well and good, I'm cool with that,
Well,
I know
as I said when I was watching
in there. And a shout out to G for showing up and like understanding that, G and Ends as well, both showing some love. So I appreciate that.
No, as I said when I was in there, I was only joking in the comments. I was just saying, I can't believe these 8 content creators don't agree with each other. It's just,
I saw that.
So yeah, I mean, that ain't gonna happen.
It's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen.
even if it's like, do you want Liverpool to win the league next year? Somebody would still probably argue. There would
Someone would
still
still
probably
say,
be an
no,
argument. So
I don't.
yeah,
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 I
it's
know.
still yeah. So no, it's good. Good people. Good fun.
Yeah,
Good people.
yeah. Big up to Hash, big up Marion again. Big up to Honesty, big up to everyone that's joining me right now. Daz, big up to you too.
Yeah, big up
Um,
Daz.
yeah, and it's just funny because like I wanted to I originally was going to go live a lot earlier, but I saw that they had this, forum going on. And then when I saw it wasn't as many people as it ended up being, but there was like, a good group of people, a lot of like, somewhat relevant. I mean, all relevant in their own way, content creators, excuse me. And yeah, I was like, okay, I'd love to, chop it up and get in, especially with some of the content creators, because, you it's interesting because sometimes you might like I have an open forum somewhat where I do invite, if not if I'm asked, at least sometimes too, I'll allow for them to come onto my platform and we'll discuss things. They don't necessarily have the same opinions as I do or same takes as I have, but still we're going to chop it up and we're going to do our best to try to at least see where and how each one of us have that perception of the whatever it is that we're debating on. But it's not always the case when it comes to being invited to their platforms. So therefore, like when I do get the opportunities to be on these platforms, I want to go and represent sometimes, or not sometimes, all the times for the most part, because it's just a lot of the times it ends up just being like this session where it's like, okay, let's pick who's the scapegoat for today. Okay, let's all just pile on and just do like a battle royal against him, and then it's on and on and on and on. And I'm just like, I can't deal with that anymore, man. Someone's got to be at least the other side of the coin that at least gives another perspective. That's how I see it.
The way it should be. The whole world just follows the same sort of energy. We're gonna end up in a brick wall, So you need positive vibes coming from somewhere. We thank
Hey,
you,
I
God,
just don't.
man.
I guess my trigger was when they started talking about the League Cup is the Mickey Mouse Cup or whatever. I was just like, come on, man.
Yeah, the
Can't see
League
that.
Cup is the fourth out of the four cups. That's the least one.
All right.
If you don't win, you ain't gonna be peed off about it. But for me, that's like the ignition key in the car to go and get the rest of them trophies. It should be like that for me. So winning
Mm-hmm.
that early because it's an early final, it's very important for me anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, if you're going to do one of
and I
those
know, because I know, I just
things
saw
every
G.
year,
I'm seeing G. I'm seeing G. And like, if anything, if G wants to join us today, he's more than welcome. Tell me if you got time
yep.
now too. You can join the
Well,
conversation.
all
Go
I,
ahead,
all I
Archie.
was going to say, no, all I was going to say was like if you're again, there's four of these people, or there's four of these things, right? So if you're going to do what everyone does, and you're going to do a tier list, and you're going to do an honest tier list,
Right, I know where you're going with
or
this.
you're going
Yeah,
to do a personal preference one,
yeah.
it's going to go probably league
Mm-hmm.
or European Cup, whatever when you use your preference that way. If you're a
Mm-hmm.
Europe guy or a league guy, okay, so you put one of them top. So you'll
Right.
either go, let's just say, Premier League, European success. Let's just put it that way. Then most people would go FA Cup because the FA Cup back in the even up to the 80s, they used to rest players in the league for FA Cup games. That was huge, the FA Cup. Most people would go that, and then they would go the League Cup. So that would be your tier list. For most people, of the four trophies, it would be the fourth in a tier.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
then you also have to bear in mind that there's probably about 125 clubs out there that would rip your arm off for a trophy.
Exactly.
They would they would kill for a trophy. Now, again, I get it. We're not one of those clubs. Okay, so context comes into it again. We're not
Right.
one of those clubs that wants to rip your arm off for a league cup. Of course we're not. So then you go to the next kind of set of scenarios.
Right.
Do we have the squad to cope with it?
Right.
We've
Right.
got a League Cup game tomorrow, and at the
Yep.
weekend we've got Man City away at the Etihad in the league.
Hmm.
What are we prioritizing? Because we don't have the £1 billion squad to just go, well, we can just go and win everything.
Yes.
So then, like, it's the context, it's the little kind of intricacies of everything every season. Like I said to Pops earlier on, I said, look, man, every season you start on a quad, right? Technically, right? So,
Yes.
but in a golfing term, you play it as it lays, right? You know that term. You play it where it
Hmm.
lays, right? You
Hmm.
see where you end
Hmm.
up, and you take it competition by competition, day by day. And yeah, okay, look, oh, we've got a League Cup at the, oh, we've got our main striker is out, our main midfielder is out, our guy is out. Do we go full strength in this League Cup game, or do we, what do we do? So
Hmm.
every single season, but you don't have the arrogance to say at the beginning of the season, oh, I don't care about League Cups. They don't mean anything to me. They don't matter to me. I wouldn't be in that scenario. But that's where I'd land on that. Is you got to look at it that way for me.
I want to win every. Yeah, I want to win every game. As soon as that whistle blows, I want to win that game, even if it's a preseason
Yeah,
friendly.
I
You
get it.
know,
Yeah.
winning. You know what? We win one game, we want to win the next, and that's like football the way it is.
Yep. Yep. I mean, I
Well,
always say,
exactly.
like,
No,
if you,
it comes down to that. That's the basic thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
We talk about what you want to win this season, but every time we sit down and watch a game together on a watch along or in the pub with our mates, as soon as the whistle goes, we forget about season expectations and do we want to win? We just want to win this goddamn game we're playing.
yeah,
Yeah,
right,
simple.
that's the way I
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
but I
right.
want to win the Champions League
I,
first before the Premier League. I'll take the Champions League because that shows on the
well,
world
Okay, yeah.
there's a
stage.
lot of,
You know?
yeah. Hmm. No, go
Yeah,
on
for
with your
me.
point,
No,
Richie.
no, that's
Yeah,
an
yeah, just
interesting
like on the
question. Yeah,
world stage, it
what
just
do people
looks
think?
better.
No, yeah,
Gone,
no, I was
Brian?
just gonna, yeah, you keep going to. I was interested. What would people be like when we're saying in that tier list? Would you be a league or a Champions League person? That's an interesting question. I mean, and you were saying Champions League.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
And
going
that's
Champions
that's the
League. Yeah.
reason why I wanted to put perspective on that too. Allow for you to finish your point. I didn't know. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say, like, what I don't know what you guys think. Like next season, we're going to be playing the Champions League as well. So, what would you
Hmm.
want Slot to win if you could pick a trophy, the Premier League or the Champions League? Which one would you give
Right.
him?
Like if
So,
I had to
I'm
choose one of the two,
yeah,
obviously, because yeah, again, I want to
I'm a
win
league
both.
guy.
Right. But
yeah.
I'm
But
a
if you
league
only
guy.
could have one,
right,
Yeah, I'm a league
exactly.
guy. I'll
Exactly.
always be a league guy. I'm a
the
league
Premier
guy.
League, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm a league guy.
Yeah.
Just because to get them
Okay.
extra on United,
Mm-hmm.
just to get that kind of 6 to 8 more than United is where I think we should be. So I want to increase that gap a bit. It's like they always used to say, the league is your bread and butter and all that. And I know our
Yes.
heritage and our fame is
Wait,
built
wait.
actually on
Speak up
European football.
just speak up just a little bit, Brian, because it's a little hard
Oh,
to hear.
sorry. I just they always say, "Oh, the league is your bread and butter." Like I'm that kind of guy, but we are
Yeah.
famously built on what we've done in Europe, and I'm all for that. But I just want to, sorry, I just want to see us always be like 4 or 5 leagues ahead of United.
Got you.
I
Got
don't
you.
like that we're that close to them, and I want us to be like, yeah, they might have 20, but we've got 26. Like
I
they're
got
Yeah.
not
you.
even in the
Yeah.
conversation.
But that's
The league will always be that close.
that's primarily why I was saying what I was saying. Like, well, a lot of different perspectives of what we just said. I mean, like I'm under the same, I guess, pretense of what you're both saying in essence too. Because yes, I want to win the league, but I also want to win the Champions League. Like I want to win both. I want to win. I would like to say, just as you said earlier, Irishman, like I go into every year thinking, let's win the quad until we can't. You feel what I'm saying? Like, as in, I want to be involved in competitions and hopefully we have the squad to do so and win everything. And I always said, like, there's always that person that goes, if you show me the first person that is okay with losing, I'll show you a loser. That concept,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm just one of those people that I definitely want to win everything. Am I cool with losing? No, but I understand it is a real possibility, So therefore, like, I want to go into the mindset of thinking, like, put your mindset of thinking you want to win everything, and then therefore, even though you might not be able to win every game, at least you're attempting to win every game, as opposed to saying to yourself, let's not put too much effort into this one because we want to win this one down the line. And by doing so, you might take yourself out of making that down the line game even matter. You know what I mean? Like,
Can I just say one thing
yeah.
on that? Can I
Go
just say
ahead.
one thing on that?
Yes, yes, yes.
That is the fan view.
Right. That's a fan view.
Then you
Exactly.
also
You're
have to
right.
think of a
That is right.
manager.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a manager who's got a board looking at him that's judging him on, like, I think what some of the boys were saying earlier on. They're judging him on different things. So he's going to go, well, I'm not going to put my first team out for the cup game.
Yeah.
You know, because so we also have to think from the manager's point of view as well, where there will be, and even Klopp, I think Klopp at one point in that kind of, he was trying to avoid it all year, and he actually broke about, I think it was somewhere around the United game, and he said, "Yeah, look, I'll admit it," in that kind of Klopp way. I'll paraphrase, but he said, "Yeah, we will actually have to say." Make a decision here where we're going to not sacrifice a cup, but say we have a league game.
We did
in a
that
week's
too.
time. Yeah, and he said
even a
it.
better
He
example.
came out and said it.
Here's an even better example. The Villa, the time that we had to play, we had to either go and do the what was it, Super Cup, right? And then or go and play in. It was two cups that
we were away. We were away in the Club World Cup. We were actually in a different conference.
Yeah, Club World Cup. Yeah.
So yeah, we had to send either a shadow team or forfeit the game.
Right. I'm just saying that shows a level of, trying to put perspective on, that's literally choosing between two cups in essence, or.
Well, if you look at what if you want the ultimate example, look what Man United did when the first Club World Cup came around, and they literally withdrew themselves from the competition, which was the first time that had happened. Well, not in history, back in, go right back. Not everyone played in it, but it was the first time in probably 100 years that a team had voluntarily withdrawn from the FA Cup. And the reason they had done it was to go and play in the Club World Cup, which they qualified for because they won the Champions League, and everyone was like, "Oh, well, you've just disgraced football." But everyone got over it pretty quick.
Yeah. No, and I get that.
Yeah,
that's why
they just binned it, and no one ever talks about that. By the way, like that was one of the biggest, like, two fingers up to English football of all time.
Right.
It was just
and I get that. I get that.
You have a choice between doing this or that. It's like, oh no, well, the FA Cup, which is basically the oldest competition going.
Yeah.
And it's the big Manchester United, so no
one even batted an eyelid. Nope.
Yeah, everyone let him get away because it's Ferguson and Man United.
Because it's Fergie and it's Manchester United. But yeah,
but if we put out an under, under 18s team.
Can you imagine if that had been Klopp and he'd done that?
But JK, you'll remember how many times, and you remember talking about how many times have we been called out in the papers for disrespecting the cup, like putting a few youngsters in a team.
Yep.
Like Man United literally said, no, we RSVP, no, I shall not be attending.
Yeah. I just don't want to. I also think though the same thing that you said though about the League Cups, or not League Cups, excuse me, about having the titles and making this title or silverware push. Who has the most silverware basically in England kind of push against Manchester United? Like I was trying to bring out the perspective of a good chunk of that silverware is the League Cup for us. Like, to think that the League Cup doesn't mean something is silly in my perspective, because it obviously does. It's silverware. It's not like it doesn't get like it's not like it's like, oh, it's the League Cup, so it doesn't go into the cabinet. Yeah, it goes in the cabinet along with all the other trophies. That's why I'm trying, like, they're acting like the League Cup is on levels of the Tiger Cup or something that the Spurs won. I think that's what it's called, right? The Tiger Cup or that whatever that tournament was that they were in preseason.
That wasn't even a thing. That
You
was
know?
just preseason. Yeah, that wasn't even.
Oh, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm just trying
Yeah,
to, you know,
that
that's
was, I know, but
tongue-in-cheek.
even if that
Yeah.
doesn't deserve to get called a cup. It was
They
the Audi
paraded
Cup.
it like it was a major thing. That's why.
No, well, they were forced to do that. That's not.
Okay, they were forced. That's your perspective, but I'm just trying to get across.
No, it's the Audi Cup. No, it's that Audi
The Audi
Cup.
Cup.
Thing. Yeah,
Yes, the
they
Audi
Cup.
jumped
Audi Cup,
around.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, of course. They jumped
And I'm
around
trying to get
and
across
everything.
that like titles
No.
do matter.
I know all
I
I'm
get that
saying
it's
is
a
Spurs are
preseason
bad
title.
enough. We don't need us to kick them when they're down. Spurs are bad enough on their own. They don't need kicking when they're down. I mean, yeah.
Oh,
like,
and I get that, and that's why, like, you know, I was actually doing some
I'm only
research and like,
joking.
and I made sure that like I was gonna go, oh, you know, because I'm sure I'm gonna get asked who's the League Cup winners from this year or that year, so I wanted to make sure that I refreshed my memory, and like and when I was looking at it, I was like, oh, okay, I can go to 2000. That's a lot of years. It's like 24 years of the League Cup, you know. But I'm like, oh, but then if I do, that takes away the one League Cup that the Spurs won in 1999, you know. So I made sure to include them. So shout out
for me,
to the Spurs.
what you said, 12, that it counts to the basket, you know, because when we do the numbers, and then you're going to say who's the most successful team, them League Cups add to our basket. So for me, very important cup, like the FA Cup, and all the teams in England are involved. So you got to beat everyone, sort of, you know.
Right,
you got Man City, Arsenal, United, everyone. So wait,
but that's
it just
why
counts. It counts.
It counts. Yep. It counts. And then to go as far as to say that, like, look, there's a lot of things we're speaking on, but I mean, it's to go as far as to say that Klopp isn't an elite manager because he's going toe to toe with possibly the most elite manager in the world, you know, for the majority of those competitions.
With all the tools. The guy who had, the elite manager at the, you know, the freaking Death Star club with all the money and, you know, not just the best manager, but the best manager at the best club with all the money and all the so,
that's still on 115 charges, you know, possibly to get even to take away a lot of the success and everything else possibly that they've gotten already from those from that built up.
I would, of course. You see, this is all hanging in the ether for them.
Yeah.
So for me, it's always like well, look, there's a notification on, and there's a check on it that hasn't been cleared yet, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, it won't. But for me, it's like as a kid growing up, and I can only talk about my personal experience. I'm not talking about what anyone else should feel or think. Or what should be important to them. I just say. So for me, it's just a kid in Ireland growing up in the late 80s to 90s. That's my era, you know, pre-internet, pre-everything. So it's just like I'm a now again, Ireland. It's basically Liverpool fans and United fans. That's it, and a few bits and pieces. But it's basically just that. So it's like we have more leagues than you. We've won more leagues than you. That's it. That's the beginning and the end of the conversation. Who has more league titles? You know, because they never got involved in the European conversation because we just had we're like way ahead.
We'd gone so far ahead of them
So it was basically about who has more leagues. Nobody ever talked about, now back in the day, like in the 80s, people would have talked about FA Cups.
Yes.
But I'm a league guy. So basically what I'm saying is what I grew up as the argument was like, who has won more league titles? Oh, ye haven't won a league since then. You haven't won it. Yeah, but won the FA Cup, we won this. No, it's like, but when did you win the league? It's all about the league. So that's my mindset for where we're all the rest of them is kind of like, you know, the bit that gets added on. But as long as we have more league titles than any other club in England, we're golden. We're golden as far as I'm concerned. You can have all the other cups you want, as long as we can say nobody has ever won more leagues than Liverpool. That's the top trumps.
Oh,
wait, that's the top trumps card.
We have a guest. We have a guest that just arrived, and
I
just noticed what he did. I just noticed what he did. Okay.
Uh-oh. I
I
know
just
this from a
noticed what he
jersey
did. I
base.
got you. I got you.
If he's not wearing a Barcelona jersey, I'm going to be really disappointed.
Come on, bro.
I'm going to be...
Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah, I'm glad.
guys, first and foremost,
Yeah.
before you guys
yeah.
pick up everybody inside, make sure you guys smash the like button, make sure you share and subscribe, all of that good stuff. Big up the Irishman, big up Jay Kismet, big up 12 man. What you guys saying?
Big up.
Bless,
Welcome.
You heard what we're saying. Man. You heard what we're saying.
Yeah,
How are
you know, I'm sure you're probably listening. I mean, I saw you in the chat. I know you're. Yeah, to go make sure that it was fresh and clean. You know.
Yeah. Listen, man, I had to. I said, I couldn't come on now and not wear the Liverpool top. Now I've got to 100% wear it. 100%. Just for the sake of it.
Just for the sake of it, I got you. So, yeah, we were just talking about what we were talking about earlier on Ends this show. I know that you're limited on time today, so make sure that we try to get the points in quick and fast. But we were discussing about the importance of the League Cup. I understand you don't view the League Cup of having any relevance. So, but we were trying to speak on the importance of not only just the League Cup individually, but also in the grand scheme of things of how it does add to our cup haul, basically. And I mean, does I get that you don't value the League Cup, but do you at least value our race with United as trying to say who has the most silverware in England? Does that not mean something to you?
Not really. I feel like you see that kind of conversation. I feel like that's more pointed to people who are obviously older than me, have been supporting Liverpool for 40, 50, whatever years kind of thing, because obviously, just for the last 40
out already, G. I feel
no.
already.
I think you got to realize, like, it's not like I grew up and I'm in a space or in an era where it's like those kind of things that would have maybe have seemed a tad bit important because we weren't winning the big trophies. You know what I mean? I wasn't fighting for the Champions League, other than that one time we won it. But I'm not fighting for that on a consistent basis. I'm not fighting for the Premier League on a consistent basis. Like all of these various different things, I'm not looking at it like that. So maybe when I was younger, I would have looked at it and you're almost trying to, what's the phrase I'm looking for? You're almost trying to get gain brownie points. You're almost trying to gain brownie points in any area you can because, okay, you're not winning the Premier League. Okay, fair enough. So where can I catch up with a team like Manchester United? Of course, they're winning all the Premier Leagues. They're getting to Champions League finals and semi-finals. And, they're playing Champions League on a consistent basis. They're winning FA Cups at the time. So League Cups then become old school, the Worthington Cup. Like those kind of things, they become maybe a bit more important. But I just look at it from this point of view now. I'm just like, the League Cup isn't going to be something that at the beginning of a season I'm looking at and I'm saying, let's see if we can potentially try and win that trophy. If we win it, of course, when you win something, and I think, I can't remember who said it on Enza's stream, it's one of those trophies that once you get to the final, then you're sitting there in the position of, oh, okay, you're here. Of course, you want to win every single football match, right? So once you get to the final, now you're like, oh, okay, cool. Let's try and win it, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think it's going to be... I've seen both sides of it. I've seen it work in some teams' favor. And again, it's always going to be context to the team. I think Savage mentioned about teams winning it and then potentially being relegated. I've seen Wigan win the FA Cup. Obviously, I know it's at the end of the season, but they got relegated that same season. Did you get what I mean? So it's like, but context to Wigan, for Wigan, either result would have been perfect, i.e., if they had stayed up, obviously for the club, that would have been a lot better financially. But in terms of the actual winning a trophy, I don't know Wigan's record. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say they haven't won a major trophy in 50
would
or
be
60
right.
years.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
So in the context of those kind of teams, it's going to mean just that bit more. Prime example, if Tottenham go and win the League Cup, it is a bigger feat than, say, a Liverpool. It is a bigger achievement. It's going to be something that they're going to hold purely because they don't win anything. They haven't won anything. I think, no, they won one trophy since I've been alive, in that time. I've seen my team obviously win various different things in that period of time. So now we're in this period of time with Jurgen Klopp in terms of what we're really fighting for, which is Premier League. This season is the Europa League, but let's say in other seasons it's the Champions League. I'm looking at those two big trophies. That's where I'm going to measure him. I'm not going to measure him. Zabiri just said it on the thing. Like, no one was measuring Klopp by getting knocked out in the 3rd round of the FA Cup or the 4th round of the league. No one measured him by that. We were measuring him by where he finished in the league. Can you make top 4?
And
Brilliant.
that is a
Can you make this?
that is
Brilliant.
a fair point in terms of if you're not going to slate a manager for them getting knocked out of a cup because it's only the League Cup in inverted commas, then how much, I get that idea, like how much do you then praise that manager for winning in the same inverted commas that League Cup? Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I can understand that. But like I was saying to the boys just before you, like, I'm a league guy. Okay? I'm a league guy. When it comes down to the totals, like I was saying, I want to be always able to say Liverpool has won more leagues than any other club in England. All those other little things that come underneath it, that prop up. And I was gonna, like, you'll even get some kind of the newer fan, oh, you're just almost stat padding with your league cups. Right? Okay. But again, as we said, most clubs in the country would rip your arm off for the chance to win a cup. So we have to base this in the context of where are we in any particular season.
Yeah.
Now, as you were talking about in a final, this is something I said for a while, and I would take it a little bit further back, G. I would always say, as soon as you're in a knockout competition, and the round that you're in ends with the word final, that's when you start taking it seriously. Quarterfinal, semi-final, final. If you're in a quarterfinal or something, then you're like going, oh, okay. Yeah, this, right, but as I said earlier on to 12 man, it's like, right, we've got 3 injuries, right? We've got this and that. We've got Slavia Prague, and then we got Man City at the weekend. What do we do? What do we do? You do prioritize as the seasons go, and the games come along. You have to prioritize. So you have to be able to play your hand as you're dealt it. But it's easy for a Pep to come along and say we prioritize this, and I mentioned that to Puffman before. He says that sets the tone, but not every club has the resources. So you got to be clever. So I think it's all about, like, season by season. Was it there to be won? Then you should have gone and won it, or did you have to do it? Like, but to me, all at the end of the day, the League Cup is, like we were saying, on your tier list of things you probably rate winning. It's the 4th thing. No one's going to say it's any higher.
Man City haven't won more FA Cups than us, have they?
They have, as of late.
Right. Wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
They're winning. That's because they have a mentality of going into. I understand the perception of, if we have the squad depth to pursue, in which I would hope that as an elite team or as a top tier, top 6, however you want to reference it, big 6 team, that we would have the depth to be able to commit to every competition. And now, especially with the increase of the number of competitions, even outside of the 4, main competitions that we participate in, I still think that I would like to see our team participate fully and go for the competition, especially when, as Brian said, if you get to those quarterfinals or semifinals, there's no point in there. I wouldn't go to the point where saying, "No, well, you know what? It's only the League Cup, so who cares? Let's just play the youngsters." No, you're at a stage where you can win silverware. Go and establish that mentality with the group of players you have to get into the mindset of winning and what it takes to get into these knockout rounds or knockout stages of these tournaments, where you're going to have to go on and have that pressure on your back and be able to engage and surmount the amount of pressure. Go ahead, Gene. You want to say something?
Just quickly, because I'm going to need to. But again, like I said, tomorrow I'm going to continue this conversation. So I'll send you the link. But I'll just say this, just in regards to what you're saying. I don't even disagree with that, because, like I said, once you get there, of course, I don't want to lose in the final. That's even worse, than anything else. But you mentioned there, and I think Brian, you mentioned there about if you hear the word final at the end of it, so quarters, semis, and the final itself. So that's obviously 3 whatever games that you're talking about. If you get knocked out in any prior round, i.e., if you get knocked out of the 3rd round of the League Cup, are you going to look at that as, obviously, in terms of the actual achievement, yes, you failed in that competition because you got knocked out. But do you think that's gonna be so detrimental to the team moving forward for not winning it? Because that, like I said before on Enzo's thing, you look at the seasons where we won a Champions League, the season that we won the Champions League, the season that we won the Premier League, we didn't win the League Cup in any of those seasons, and they happen to be literally Liverpool's 2 best seasons ever, because we won the most we won trophies in those seasons. Won 3
I
trophies.
believe that I do believe that his mentality has changed with the perspective of the approach that he uses, in the sense of what's the ratio of youth to squad players.
Yeah.
I do agree. I do think that Klopp's perception of what the ratio is going to be is different. And I also think that we were fortunate in the years that we did win the cups, like as in when we won with Taki and we had Origi and those kinds of players, with Shaq and those kinds of players. We had the squad depth and the veteran and the depth, in the sense of having quality depth that could be substitutes for playing your bigger names in those competitions as well. And they utilized that time and those appearances as just such, that as in, this is our opportunity to make our mark with this club, because chances are we're not playing in a Champions League game.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are we're not going to play in some big, weekend matchup with the title on the line, but we can contribute in this League Cup and push our club further on in that. And I think that was a major difference.
And I see it like this, bro, as well, that we've got 4 competitions, and in 4 of them competitions, we're the leaders in 2 of them. And we've got the most trophies in England. Beautiful.
What are the 2 competitions we're leaders in?
Champions League and League Cup.
Yeah.
Simple facts. And we're 1 behind on the league titles. Arsenal, the leaders of the FA Cup. I don't know how many we're behind on them, but you can't really moan at that, can you?
I think they got 12. I'd have to double check on that.
I think they got 12 or 13. But Arsenal.
Yeah, 12 or 13, something
But
like that.
I'm just with G. I think I get totally what you're saying, and I totally agree with that. Like that, we won big trophies in seasons that we've lost. We got knocked out of these cup competitions,
and I almost think it helped. I actually almost think it helped.
Yeah.
Less games to worry about. Don't have to worry about, I fully get we have the players, so to speak, where now maybe he can rotate a Conor Bradley in a game, or whoever, like McConnell, or whatever the case may be. But in those seasons where we were going for those, the biggest trophy, like the trophies that really mean something to people at the end of a season. I'm not saying everyone likes a day out in Wembley, like that. That's just going to be typical fans, not just Liverpool. Any fan would love. I saw the the FA Vase Trophy the other day, and there were fans at Wembley in that competition. So it's
that's
not
football.
Like diminish it. Exactly, that's just football. But when we're talking about at the beginning of a season, like for me anyway, let me not say that it's for everybody, because for me, because I know other people don't agree, but for me, I just look at it and I think to myself, I'm not going to look at the League Cup and think to myself, I'm going to overexert myself in this competition where I'm going to almost put everything else at jeopardy. So if I do have the players, and Manchester City have shown over the years when they won it back to back to back, they had the players to do so, but they were kind of using a lot of the first team guys. If you got the players to do it, then yeah, you go ahead, you do your thing. If you don't really have the quality to do it, don't overexert yourself. Don't kill yourself for this tournament. We don't need to win that, and that's gonna almost define your season. Because you could easily, at the end of the day, we got knocked out of the Europa League, we're out of the title race, we got knocked out of the FA Cup. So the reality is, even if we hadn't won this competition, everything still happened the same way it did. So it's like, did it even help our season? Not really, because we ended up, by the end of it, now being out of a title race, out of the Europa League, players getting injured, left, right, like all these little, and again, I'm not saying it's all on one thing, because obviously context has got to be applied to every single thing. I get that. But at the same time, it's not going to be something that I'm really going to, 100% focus on. But like I said, we'll continue this tomorrow.
Wait, before you bounce, though,
Yeah.
let me ask a question. So you have, so I know that you did say something about elite managers, and you said that Klopp's not an elite manager. So, do you think that Arteta is an elite manager?
Do I think there's?
That's just a question. Do you think Arteta is an elite manager?
Do I think Arteta
is Arteta an elite manager?
No.
He's not. I just want to make sure. I just want to get clarification. Okay.
Yeah, no. He's not. For me, you have to be considered even an elite. Just to be considered, you have to win a big trophy. And at the moment, I think he's only got one FA Cup, so I can't even.
He's got one FA Cup.
Yeah, no, he's not an elite manager. No.
I wanted to see where. Okay, so you're gonna definitely you won't feel the wrath from me on that one then.
Yeah, you see, look, your brain was already going. You see, you didn't even know it. I don't have him up there. He can't. And to be honest with you, you got to realize, even for let's just say Klopp stayed here in NU for like another 2 years or whatever, for him to even be considered, he would have to win the Premier League this year and next year. And not because that will then overtake Klopp in Premier League terms. We've still got to remember Klopp's an elite manager, not necessarily for at Liverpool. It's every Dortmund as well, winning 2 Bundesliga titles.
Follow up question then, real quick. Cause I know you got your sparse sometimes. Is Wenger an elite coach, an elite manager?
Yes.
And why is Wenger an elite manager?
3 Premier Leagues and I believe 2 FA Cups in that time.
And no Champions League, no Champions Leagues.
No Champions League.
No Champions League. So he's never won Europe, but he's won the FA Cup twice, you said?
Twice. I think, I'm going to say twice.
And he's won the league how many times?
3 times. 3 times. But he won it 3 times in about 6 years, I think, between.
Yeah.
He won it like
7
3 out of 5.
2004. Something like that.
Yeah, he won 3 out of 5, 3 out of 6. So
for me,
he had a period of.
For me, Klopp is more than an elite manager because he turned a £300 million business into a £5 billion business. Give me another guy in the football world who can do that, bro.
I wouldn't put that down. I would say that's more of an ownership thing than a Klopp thing. I think that's more ownership side than.
If there's no success on the pitch, bro, there's not going to be no success for the owners. You know. Winning,
not necessarily.
please,
Your club can still make, and I'm not saying we would make the money that we have been making. Of course not, because you're right, 100%. You need a success on the pitch. But I would look at, say, a Brighton, for example. You sell one player for 100 and odd million and sell a couple others. Already now they've got quite a lot of money in their bank, so the club can still profit in some way, shape, or form. But I do agree with you, 100%. You need the success on the pitch in order for you to maintain and sustain that level of the commercial revenue that we've got. I think we're like 3rd or 4th or something behind like Madrid and stuff. Like 100%, I agree with you on that part. But at the same time, without the owners, that would be a very difficult task. Even though I know people don't like talking about, the owners.
No, and
I think that I wasn't making
a technical point on that we were worth 300 million when FSG took over, not when Klopp joined.
Yeah, well, this is it. That's another thing.
By the time we got to the point where Klopp joined, FSG had made us into a club that was getting Roy Hodgson as manager to being able to attract a Klopp. So there's always a synergy there.
I think we've always done that.
That's a chicken and egg thing.
Yeah, but the Klopp era
they got us back on an even keel.
The Klopp era was when we were actually worth. The Klopp era was when we were worth like the billions that. It wasn't with King Kenny at the helm. It wasn't that wasn't when you were saying, oh, they might sell for $3 billion or something like that. Or
that's since Klopp's been here, this is Liverpool are at our highest in terms of most profitable. We could sell our club. The ownership can sell off what they want to sell off for. I don't even know what it's worth nowadays. So if it's 3 billion, 5 billion, 10 billion, who knows? But of course, that's coincided with Klopp being here. I'm not saying, by the way, he played no part. Of course, we need the success on the pitch. Without it, we ain't going to be, worth that.
But real quick though, too, getting back to my initial question about Wenger, I wasn't trying to insinuate that Wenger isn't an elite coach. I think he's an elite coach. I think he's an incredible coach in the era that he won a part. But then again, if you were to tell me that the 3 titles, and we're all doing it from like looking at it from perspective, I guess you can say. And you're going to say, okay, so Wenger had 22 years as a manager. He won 3 times in those 22 years, comparatively to the person that he was going, toe to toe with, which was Fergie, who had won more than 4 times the amount of titles that he's won. Why can't you say the fact that, like, well, Pep's an elite manager, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But the sheer fact that the only manager to have won anything other than Pep primarily when it comes to titles has been Jurgen Klopp.
And Ranieri. Or was he? And Ranieri. And
Ranieri. Was that the same?
The same season that Ranieri won it?
I didn't know if that was Mancini or not. That's why. Okay. All right.
So I'll listen. If we're asking, is Klopp an elite manager? Yes, I think he's an elite manager. And I'm going to say this.
Oh, wait, hold on. Rewind that. Rewind. I want to make sure that our illustrious chat and those that watch us on replay get to savor what we're about to hear once again. So I'll leave the wait. I want to make sure that I leave the floor to you as well.
Like I said, Klopp's an elite manager. Like that's there's no there's no 2 ways about it. He is an elite coach. I will say that 100 times over. But yeah, like I said, I don't want to go too deep into that conversation. I'm going to save all of that for the end of the season when we talk about
Okay, I just want to make sure that everyone saw there's no distractions.
I don't think
there's
that's
no distractions.
No. I don't think that's ever really.
You got main billing there, man.
No. I don't think that's ever really come into like question. Like at the end of the day, I think obviously there's obviously other like there's a list of, I guess, what you would deem to be an elite manager. But I guess just like calling a player world class or calling a player good or whatever, there's like tiers to it. So where he sits on that tier, we'll save that conversation for another day. But I just wanted to make sure, because I know that we were speaking on the fact of like we were talking about it about the coaches, and I wanted to make sure that I had that clarity, because I know that you said that Wenger's an elite coach because he won 3 titles, and it was 3 in 6 years, you said, or something along those lines, right? Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure, because I also know that Jurgen Klopp ended up going to a Champions League final, but he didn't win. I got it. But then he won one, and then he went back, and then the very next year ended up winning the league, right? So
he had a good 2 years. He had a solid 2 years.
So I mean, solid 2 years. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, listen, look.
All right. We'll let it end there.
Exactly. Guys, make sure you smash a like. Make sure you share. Make sure you subscribe. 12. I'll drop you a message in it. Big up, guys. Big up, Dave. Big up.
Bless, bro.
Yes. Bless up.
Take care, man.
Definitely. Oh, I wanted to make sure that he needs to wash that Barcelona jersey for tomorrow then too. But he probably has like a couple jerseys already of Barcelona, so it's all good. There he's back. I knew he'd come back. I got you, G. I got you. I wanted to bring you back.
I actually clicked the link by accident. I was supposed to head out of my WhatsApp. Guys, I'm gonna say sayonara. I'll see you guys soon.
Take it easy, man.
Be good. All right, peace out. All right.
But for me, you got to look at the financial side of the game as well. Pep Guardiola on a Luton Town budget in every club he's been at, Bayern Munich, Man City, and Barcelona, would he be able to do the same success? That's what you got to understand. We won't be able to see that. He will never go to a team like Luton Town. So for me, Pep's always had the funds to be able to do what he needs to get done on the playing pitch.
He's been able to understand what Klopp got. Build the squad that he needs to build because of the tactics that they used in provide resources for him to go out and continuously get whatever player he primarily want to get.
Yeah, he's that type of guy. He's a perfectionist. Yeah. He spent like over $250 million. $250 million on the defense. So Klopp spent like a tenner on Robertson,
Yeah,
you know, £10 on Robertson. Like, come on, it's a joke, you know. So for me, about Klopp, I don't have any problems in the way he's sort of been with us. But on the pitch, I just feel that if the owners backed him just that little bit more at certain times in his career, we could have kept that dominance. You know, I feel when we won the Champions League, that was the time for us to showboat our status and saying, you know what, let's go and get this guy now, a well-established name in Europe, bring him in, let everyone look at us now. You know, and I don't think they did that.
Right. There could be an argument for that. I can understand what you're saying. I know, Irishman, you wanted to say something too. Go ahead.
No, I'm just wondering what are we? We kind of melded into a few different topics here. What's our? I know this started off as
we're talking about
a Twitter takes kind of thing tonight. Is there anything in particular?
Yeah, I do have some Twitter takes. But you know, I wanted to kind of go in. I was just riding the flames from the earlier fire, basically.
yeah. No. I was fully expectant of that, but I was just it's all gone a bit kind of soupy. So I'm just not sure exactly what point we're on, like, because I think we can move on from the is the League Cup important thing. I think
we're gonna move into some of the takes. We're gonna move into
anything interesting come out, anything different, any weird stuff.
Any weird? Well, we spoke on it. We spoke on a little bit about that.
Have we been linked with Pedri again or anything? Just anything like that.
I can only hope by that. Man, if that happened, that'd be amazing for Gavi or something like that. Excuse me, but there was a thing here. Let me bring it up. I'll bring it up here. Hold on. An interesting concept here this was on Transfer Market. Let me share this with you guys here, and hopefully it's big enough on the screen for you to be able to see the actual stuff that I'm trying to share here. But we definitely will have to table the elite managers, and if Liverpool matters, or if the League Cup matters, or something along this lines. But this was another topic that was a part of it. There was something that was actually on Transfer Market, not on Twitter per se, but I did see it on a Twitter. Someone used this graph on one of their Twitter posts, but I saw it on actual Transfer Market before I saw it on Twitter. And I saw it when I did see it on Twitter, I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is getting some traction. And this is basically going with the Premier League injury table, and was showing clubs with the highest number of Premier League games missed through injury. And what was unique about it is Liverpool is fifth on this list. But what's unique certainly about it is if you look at the teams that are more so vying for competitions or vying for some type of actually doing anything with their season so far, it has been more so it starts at that 5 mark and it works its way down to into some relevance. It helps when you're a team like Manchester City and you've had 16 total injuries, and out of that 16 total injuries, you've had 59 games missed. Whereas when you look at Liverpool, we've had 34 total injuries and we've missed close to 4 times that practically of the same amount of games, in that we've missed 200. We had 221 matches missed as a result of those 34 injuries. It's pretty telling. And I mean, look, the reason why Tottenham was lighting the league up in the very beginning of the year, the injury bug hit them, and they pretty much tatered and fell off the pace, to say the least, with even holding on to top 4, much less being a contender in the title run. Because how many times did we hear, and this isn't punching down at Spurs, but we did hear a lot of Spurs guys out there saying, oh, the league, this is our time for the title. This is our time for the title. This is our time for the title. And then 37 injuries later, it's kind kind of a different concept, you know,
Yeah.
and the squad depth does matter when it comes to a lot of what you see in performances from a good number of these teams. Look, you know, 12 players from Villa, for instance. I'm trying to think. 21 players for Arsenal, but only 114 games missed. I say only, considering that's still close to, you know, half of the games that we've had missed by players. You look at, again, Man City at 59 games. Does this graph resonate with either of you? With what, or is it just one of those like whatever graphs? Irishman, you want to go first on this one?
Let
And then we
JK
go to
go.
JK.
Let JK go. Let JK
Okay.
go.
Yeah,
Okay.
but when you look at the table there, bro, you look at Luton and Sheffield United, for example.
I could bring that up a little bit further for you. Bring it up. And then
Even Burnley. Wow. Okay. So you got Burnley there, you got Sheffield United there, and Luton there. The bottom three teams, for example, okay, they are playing a game where they're going to get stuck in because they haven't got the players to do the skill thing.
Yep.
So they are mentally prepared for a battle. These guys, even if they lose, they are mentally prepared to go into that game and, I wouldn't say hurt the opposition, but make sure they don't get hurt and they'll go into a tackle solid, you know. And what would happen in them games, because they're the bottom teams, they're getting loads of attacks against them. So for me, it's the mentality of the players, bro. Why a lot of injuries happen. How you going into a tackle, how you going into the game. I feel with this guy's too many injuries. It's like it sort of rocked us too much, because when the guys came back into the team,
they just
none of
weren't
them-
at the form level that they left.
They weren't at the table like they were before they got injured, you know. Endo, Jota, Trent, them three, for example, even Szoboszlai. But for me, that table there, very interesting. Just seeing them, the bottom three teams, not having the less injuries out of most of everyone. So for me, that's a very. You need to send that to the Liverpool manager and tell him, say, look, get the mentality right. Ferry's going into challenges and stuff, you know. I also believe VAR, the time waiting for decisions, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes.
Thank you.
That adds. And I also believe that the players are too fit. They're a walking time bomb.
They are.
Like you watch a game, they're running, all of a sudden the guy's pulled up. You're like, come on. Walking time bombs. So them two, they're the things that make me realize that the injuries are getting worse.
The VAR point, I'll let the Irishman go right after. I just want to put this little interjection on what he said. The VAR point, I think, is so valid and such an important thing to bring up, because VAR, because of the time checks, because of the stop and go process of almost everything getting evaluated, sometimes doing like, you know, measures of play, you know, and going back 2, 3, 4 different, like, you know, minutes sometimes to try to get where exactly it is that they're going to like start to say, okay, we look from here and go and try to figure out if there was anything that we need to go against. All that extra time, especially for a team like us that does rely so heavily on VAR, being that, you know, our high line relies on VAR being utilized quite a bit, and the intensity that we demand from our players with the press. I think the two going hand in hand have had some type of impact on the hamstring injuries that we see on this club. That's just my little perspective of it, because I know the stop and go is very, very detrimental to a lot of the players' health. Go ahead, Irishman. You want to put your 2 cents in?
Well, I was just sort of thinking about injuries and, like, you know, me being me, you know, I'm going back now. I'm just thinking, because like the stuff I'm watching, but there was a time when you had one sub. That was it. You know, it's not that long ago. It's not 100 years ago. It's when we were winning these league titles that we're talking about. You had one substitute. You know, players got injured a lot less when nobody could go off. Now, that's a different game almost at this stage. I'm not saying The game should be like that now. But that's how, when you think about it, it's like if you can bring on 5 subs, someone might get tired a lot. But it's like, no, you can't go off. This is why I had to, like, crazy stuff where guys would just stay on, even though they were injured. So now it's like they were more robust then, but they weren't as fit. But they were more robust basically because they were heavier and fatter, maybe some of them. But these guys used to be like, no, you just stay on. You're not going off. There's no subs. So it's a completely different game when you look at it like that now. JK is right. Back then they were more like, I suppose, more like a kind of a 1,500-meter runner, Whereas now they're more like 100-meter runners. They're like they're much more finely tuned.
I get what you're saying.
Back then they had to last 90 minutes.
Right.
They couldn't be.
It's kind of like almost like cars. You could almost make the reference to like how a lot of times they talk about how like cars are made of like fiberglass or made of all these different little, like they're not made of that iron that kind of like lasts forever style material. I get what you're saying.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you can get a guy that's now like, you can't have an Mbappe. You need a guy who can do it. Like, you won't get a super athlete like that. Couldn't do that back then. But you get someone who's slower, just a bit heavier, a bit thicker. They can play. But yeah, to be at that peak level all the time. One little thing. I think JK's. I seem like they're like racehorses. They're always just perfectly primed.
Yeah.
So it only takes one thing and then they pop.
Yep.
Back in the day, they were never that fit. Look at Neil Ruddock. Neil Ruddock used to play for us. It's not that long ago Ruddock played for us. I mean, that guy, he wouldn't have passed the first day fitness tests at any modern club today. And he was playing Premier League games for Liverpool. So, and even then, I think that's the 90s. You're talking about 2 subs, not that long ago. 2-3 subs. So, yeah, they're just.
I also.
No, I just mean they're more
3 subs.
tuned.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, when back, especially when they only had like 5 men on the bench type thing concept too. Like you might have 3 subs, but you got to pick out.
5 guys.
You only got 5 players to pick from to make those 3 subs.
And then what happens if your goalkeeper gets sent off?
Right.
Yeah,
not sent off, but like for instance today, Ederson did not look happy.
Leaves the pitch.
He did not look happy. Yeah.
They were saying he was crying. I can only assume it's like because he thinks he's got a bang in the head, so he'll have to miss the cup final or something.
Ooh, maybe. That's a good question. I didn't really take it from that perspective. Because they weren't working. Upset. I know I saw him pouring water on the back of his neck and like they were trying to massage the back of his head or something like that. Usually that's because you got to knock, to the head. And
trying to make if that goes down as a concussion, they're just like, they're not allowed to play then for X amount of days.
Because of protocol. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, which is, good thing, finally. But I think that's what people are saying. Like, oh, what if that goes down as an
I just don't think
concussion.
Yeah.
Won't be that playing the final.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. I'll research that. I was just going to say with this graph.
He's won everything with them.
Oh, Ederson?
Yeah. I mean, it's not like, it's that one cup final.
Yeah. No, that's not. Yeah. He's not going to. Yeah. I think though, like but it could be something. But the sheer fact that now that you are at the whims of somewhat of the medical staff in essence of evaluating you and saying whether you pass all the criteria, which sucks because I mean it's for his own good, but I'm sure he's probably thinking like, maybe if I don't pass this test or pass whatever test that they make to say whether I'm good to go or not, he not only misses the FA Cup final, but maybe he misses the league final, the last game for the league next Sunday. I'm sure he wants to be on that pitch for both of those competitions. But one of the major reasons why, good night, Marion. I know it's late, and I appreciate that the fact that you even joined us tonight.
Peace, Marion. Yep.
One of the major reasons why I also brought up this graph too is that if you, just as JK brought up, if you look at it, okay, I'm not going to say for West Ham, and for Wolves, it's one or two things. That is what it is. But if you do look at it, other than Man City, the 4 teams at the bottom of that list are Burnley, Sheffield United, Luton, and Forest. Those are 4 teams competing to not be relegated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a hypothetical world. Flip the scripts and have Burnley, Sheffield, Luton, and Forest having, 54 injuries. Newcastle, or 38 injuries, let's say. So let's not even go as far as the justly, because 54 injuries is ridiculous. But 38 injuries, 35 injuries, or something like that. 34, 37. They would have probably been relegated a long time before they actually ended up getting relegated. You know what I mean? And it's very
Wolves and West Ham are doing well, and they're actually the bottom 2, right?
Right. I think that's one of the reasons why they are doing well. Is my point is that they've had at least a squad that they can rely on that was available to be able to compete.
Yeah.
The sheer fact that some of these teams, that if you look at the top, and I'll let you it's your point.
No, I was just saying with the Luton one, it's just like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's weird. That's weird. 20 and 6. That is.
What's weird? What stands out about it being weird to you?
No, it's just that's like that's what I'm saying. It's sort of like you there's people who are injured and there's people who are injured.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I think those Luton guys, you've only got one chance ever to play in the Premier League. Yeah. No, I'm not injured.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Man City said, "No, I've got a pain in my knee. I don't want to play this weekend." Those Luton guys are going, "No, I'm fucking playing. It's Liverpool. It's Man City. It's Arsenal. I'm playing. I'm not telling them I've got a pain in my knee. I'm not telling them I've anything wrong."
Right. Or they're saying something like, "Hey, give me a shot," or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
Like,
they're not missing games. They're like, and they don't have a big squad.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it just shows you that if you really need to play, you may not actually be as injured as you think you are. So that's what, you get all these. Do you have a tiny pain in your? No, sit down for the weekend. We'll just play bloody Kevin De Bruyne instead, or we'll play, whatever instead. It's just that shows you that's great to see. It's a tight squad. It's a small squad, and nobody's turning up there going, "Oh, I don't feel like it this weekend."
No one's got this prima donna concept.
Everybody wants to play all the time.
Yeah,
exactly.
You understand that if this opportunity is going to be short, if you are on some, I'm questionable, but I'm gonna lean towards just taking the day off. That can't happen when you're one of those squads. You gotta battle through a lot more than you think, and that's why I was bringing up this chart to show that it is somewhat incredible that we've had 221 games. Now, you could say what you want about Chelsea. You could say what you want about Newcastle, who was a team that was picked as a possible club that would be not only competing for top 4, but should have been in at least some mention of the word second, third, if not competing for the title. I don't know if anyone had them really competing for the title, but at least making a real solid push for getting top 4. But you look at those teams, and a good number of those teams out of the top 10 are teams that aren't doing, they're like mid-table, if that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at the teams at the bottom of that list that aren't necessarily performing well, but if they had the sheer, just unlucky strike against them with injuries, as some of the other teams that have those bigger squads have, it is what it is. It's like this league would have been night and day different.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, just to MK there, I'm assuming it's the league, so it'll be 38.
Mm-hmm.
These are league. These MK is saying it'd be cool to correlate that with the number of games, but these are the league numbers, so it's.
Yeah, he's saying would be cool to cool to correlate
I'm
this
assuming
chart
this
with number
is
of games each club had to play. That's true
I'm
too. Yeah,
assuming
no
this is
doubt. I
the
get what you're
league,
saying.
so well, I'm
Yeah.
assuming it's a league, so they've all played the same number of games. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
this is in all comps.
this is just
Yeah,
this is just
Premier
Premier
League.
League.
Yeah,
Premier
so
League
they've
injury
all
table.
played exactly the same number of games.
Yeah.
So it's not
Yeah, it says clubs with highest number of Premier League games. So it's only just PL games missed through
Yeah,
injuries.
no,
So this is just Premier League games.
they're all on the same number of games, basically.
Right,
It's not
in
like
the Premier
Yeah.
League, yeah.
some have more cup games.
You know what?
They're
I
all
was
just Premier League.
And then now add in those other factors that you just mentioned. Add in the fact that, hey, some of these clubs were out of competitions early. We went into we were like we all remember
No, I know
too
what you're
well.
saying. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
They added in the extra ones, but these are just like, but just in terms of this is just
Yes,
You know
in
what?
context.
Yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And that table, it just shows you like the facts are right in front of us there, bro. Look at the team at the top.
Mhm.
Prima donnas, living in London, getting overpaid, young guys,
Yeah.
always injured. And then you got what Brian said about you got teams at the bottom who are like, we ain't gonna get this chance to play at Anfield again. I'm fit, So the facts are right there in front of us that buying expensive and giving players high wages doesn't get the mentality right in the club. So the other teams, United, Burnley, and them guys, I think they got that Sunday league sort of mentality. You probably went nightclubbing the night before, probably fell over, whatever, but you're gonna play on Sunday. So,
Yeah.
that's what it
Yeah.
is, bro. Mentality is a
what it
very
is.
big factor. Big factor.
There's another this is a very I don't have a graph for this, so I can take this graph down actually. But speaking of injuries, there is a young man by the name of James Milner that just announced today that he is going to be extending his stay with Brighton. He says this is quoted from his Twitter feed. He's saying, "Delighted to extend my stay with Brighton. Enjoyed playing with the boys in a historic season for the club. Very frustrated being injured for the past few months, but working hard to be back ready for the start of next season and hungrier than ever to contribute to the success of Brighton." Very, very interesting that he is about to embark on another season. Incredible. What an incredible player. Absolutely incredible player.
The best moment for me for Milner at Liverpool was the Barcelona 4-0 where he took the ball in the corner. I just thank him for that. For me, that's all I needed him to do,
Yeah. Arguably one of our best PK or spot kick takers of the Klopp era. Arguably. I'm not saying he was. I'm just saying arguably. You can make an argument.
What?
For a penalty kick taker.
Oh, penalty taker.
He was
Oh,
good.
yeah, no, he's
He was
great
good.
penalty taker. Oh,
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, no, you'd love him. Consistent. I think the guy, geez, I think we almost got him at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Because he was brilliant when he was younger. Like when not say people forget, but a lot of people that, I mean, it's gone back a long time. They don't really know that he started off as almost like a number 9, not really a striker, but like a false 9, a winger. That was his thing. He was what would you call him? Almost like a Teddy Sheringham. No, that's even older. But he wasn't this defensive midfielder, hard man utility guy. He played for everybody. He broke records when he was young because he was a brilliant attacking player. Like the guy has literally everything. To be still going now and to be doing what he's doing, I don't know if there's anybody out there that's had a similar career. Like he played for Villa, Newcastle, Liverpool. He's played for, barely got a game for England, by the way. But the guy could apart from centre half and goalkeeper, I think he's played every position. and not just like in one game, like actually played it. He's it's amazing what he's done. Amazing.
Absolutely amazing player. Absolutely amazing player. Yeah.
I just think he's got some of his
Again,
best
another
players.
player hit by the injury bug. You know, unfortunately, it's taken away. But
Well,
he's
it
a player.
shows you though, dude. Do you remember McAllister? Do you remember we brought in McAllister? It was like 35. You know, I get, you know, I love, like, everyone knows now football is different, but and we kind of did it with Endo. It shows you that, like, just every now and again you need to be able to step outside and go, look, I get this guy is 32, or I get he's like, in McAllister's case, I think he was like nearly 33 or 4 or something.
Right.
But he's on a free transfer.
Mhm.
He's probably one of the best, you know, McAllister is the proto Milner. You know, free transfer, ultra professional. You
Mhm.
know, set the standard, all that stuff. He was like the best man in training, all that kind of thing. Before, you know, so you need to be able to step outside sometimes and go, yeah, look, we get the ideas to bring in 22-year-old kids, resale, yada yada yada. But
Mhm.
yeah, there's room for that, like, smart buy. You know,
Right. Yeah.
Endo
Yeah.
was a really smart buy.
Yeah. Without Endo, we would have been screwed this year.
Milner on a free. That was a
Imagine
move,
trying
right?
to like,
Yeah.
juggle, figure out, you know, utilizing McAllister at the 6 and trying to figure out, you know, when Bichetti was going to possibly come back, or Thiago, who, you know, or trying to like possibly put Cujo in that role or something along those lines, or trying to figure out who we're going to do, what player we're going to put into a role that he isn't really exactly confident in playing per se. That would have been an absolute nightmare for us, I think, this season. But yeah, there was one other point another point I wanted to bring up, was because it's very interesting, you know, being on that panel earlier, how I was seemingly the lone one of the few people on the panel that was trying to big up our manager, or at least respect, to put appreciation on our manager's legendary career here. I'm going to take you on this under pretense of this. Can you imagine if the difference in this headline was Manchester City, instead of going for its 4th title in a row, was Manchester City going for their 7th title in a row? Can you imagine that in itself? I mean, I know some people have their different conceptions of Farmers League and everything else, and how, like, what constitutes what's a Farmers League, or what is this, what's that.
No such thing as a Farmers League.
Right. I'm just saying that that
Yeah,
word
I know what you're
exists.
saying. Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah.
I know it exists, but anyone that uses it should sit back down and have a look at themselves, because, yeah, they're UEFA coefficients. Call
Mhm.
it the 5th or 6th best league in Europe if you want, but you ain't getting a game with it, mate, if you're calling it Farmers League. That's all I
Yeah.
know. These people
But,
call things Farmers League don't have a pair of boots in the house, most of them.
but could you imagine, and I know it's late, so I won't keep you guys up for too much later, but could you imagine if that was the case? Because if anything, this manager has done without this manager in that mix, I don't know if the Premier League isn't being put under that pretense of being looked at as a
But
Farmers League.
that's what I'm
I
saying.
understand
If
your
everything
perception
is,
of what
if
the
the,
Farmers League
no, but that's what I'm
is,
saying.
everything
If the
else.
Premier League is a Farmers League, right? If the
Mhm.
Premier League is a Farmers League, then everything's a Farmers League. So
Right.
Farmers League is no longer an insult. Okay, so this whole Farmers League thing basically means a league that's dominated by one team. That's all that means. So that's literally all that means. Bayern Munich dominate Germany, it's Farmers League. PSG
I have a
dominate France.
different
No, but that's what people mean when they
Yeah.
say it.
Right.
To me, that's how I perceive when they say it.
That's how you perceive it,
They
right?
just mean that a Farmers League is basically a team that, or is a league there. There's one team that wins it. Bayern and PSG are the
Mhm.
two main culprits for that. So when they say Farmers League, that just means there's one team and they're way better than everybody else.
Mhm.
So if Man City was to win a 7 out of 8, so then yeah, what do you call that? So well, that's just a Farmers League. Well, if the bestest league in the world is dominated by one team, yeah, again, I don't even want to talk about this stupid phrase, Farmers League. So yeah, if they were to win, yeah, you would have a complete domination. This is what
Right.
I've said. Like, if it's only for us, I've said this for ages now. If it wasn't for us, people in England would be looking at, yeah, Man City with close to 10, probably doing 10 league titles in 12 or 14 years,
Hmm.
and getting close to United in, like, yeah, complete and utter domination. If it wasn't for us, and we only won one, we only stopped them winning once.
Yeah. Yep. 2019,
Things a
2020. Yep.
juggernaut. Where
They
was
are a
everyone
juggernaut.
else? Where was everyone else? Where was Man United? Where were Arsenal? Until last season, when they're God's gift to football, all of a sudden when they won. Hang on, let me just check there. Yeah, fuck all. You know,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
were they? Yeah, where are they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Where were
exactly.
Chelsea? Where's
Mhm.
Chelsea?
Yeah.
There's nobody. Manchester City or Manchester United sinking like a stone. We're the only people putting up a fight against these guys, and
Mhm.
we
Yeah.
get called fucking bottle jobs.
Yep.
Madness. Exactly, bro.
Fuck off. You weren't
Yeah,
even
yeah.
at the party. You weren't even in the.
You've
You
been
know what I mean?
invited.
No. If it wasn't for us, they would have just basically won everything.
They would have won
Yeah.
everything. And
Yeah.
that's pretty much why I was bringing up, like, as in there's other factors I think that might constitute someone, or at least myself, calling it a Farmers League. I think that the Bundesliga is set up for basically Bayern Munich to not only win all the time, but also to be financially superior than every other club in the league somewhat. When it comes to France, PSG is just at other settings when it comes to the league. But I always looked at it as, if a team is winning, if the team is 10, 20 points ahead of second place consistently in a league, then in my opinion, that's getting closer to a Farmers League. That's whereas in, like, the league is pretty much already written off as being, this team's going to
Yeah.
win, is a fight for second,
But all I can say is, all I would say is that
And hi, Bernie, by the way.
I had never heard the term Farmers League until about
Mhm.
3 or 4 years ago. So for me,
Wait,
it's been
speak up just a
concept.
little bit too. But I raised your microphone.
Sorry, I was just saying. No, it's just saying. For me, I had never heard the term Farmers League until about 3 or 4 years ago. So I don't even
Yeah.
engage with it in my mind. Oh, Bernie's in. Hey, what are you doing up at nearly 2:30 in the morning? Hey, Bernie, get
That
to
bell,
bed.
the notification bell hit, and she
Come
woke
on.
up. I appreciate it.
Bless.
Bless it, bless up.
I'm blessed to Dakota as well, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, and yeah,
absolutely.
bless up to
Yeah.
Alexander, definitely MK Toe. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that was, like, also something that we put, because it's just so interesting. It's like, I don't know if it's like revisionary history when it comes to a lot of sometimes some of the fan base that we engage with. It could also be maybe a sense of, like, divided allegiances as well, that gets kind of like the amount of effort and amount of defense league settings that you put in when it comes to putting respect on certain titles or certain coaches or certain players or just the club in general. That could also be the case at times. But yeah, it's a very interesting concept of what we do when it comes to trying to put it into it, kind of put it into it. Oh, we got Zabiri in
Yeah,
the
well,
house. Big up,
to
Zabiri.
me, I grew up watching football knowing that I couldn't even get close to the level that some of these people were at. So for me, any major league, any top tier, I would never go down this whole like
Oh, with the
sit behind
Farmers
my
League stuff.
keyboard.
Yeah.
And I don't mean if you have a different, whatever, but But the way these people mean it when they say Farmers League, it's just basically to disrespect everything other than, it's a very internet way of talking about things. Like, oh, that guy, he came from a Farmers League. So, oh, okay, well, go
Well,
go
yeah,
fuck yourself.
that'll
You
bring
have
us
you have no respect for anything other than solid gold, pure platinum, 100%
right. That's
perfect stuff.
and again, some of I want to make sure that people are heard because I know some your microphone's going a little in and out a little bit, Brian. But
I'll try to hold
but
it up there.
but what I was going to say, but I think I got a good majority of what you're getting at, and what I wanted to add to that was if we are going down that route, what's very interesting. This is why I was talking about goalposts moving somewhat when it comes to some of the conversations. Is the same people that'll call the Bundesliga a Farmers League or the French League a Farmers League. The players that they're asking about getting are the players
In
that are
those
cooking
leagues, yes.
in those other Farmers
yeah,
Leagues.
yeah.
And I'm just
Coney and
like,
Turam, baby. Coney and Turam. If we don't get Coney and Turam, we may as well rip up the fucking deeds to Anfield and stop playing football. If we don't get Coney and Turam,
you get what I'm
sack
saying?
them up.
Do you
Do you
get what
remember
I'm
those
saying?
boys? What are Coney and Turam doing now? What are Coney and Turam doing now?
Exactly.
Literally,
That's
we may as
what I'm
well
getting
stop
at.
playing football.
That's
I
what
think
I'm
there was a
getting at.
certain guy, his name rhymes with J-Mac, who, if we didn't get Turam and Kone, we weren't going to win the league. No, I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
But here we go. This is only
And you see
what,
it. Do
9
you
months
feel it?
ago.
Yeah.
It was about 10 months ago. This was 10 months ago.
Right.
Yeah, and oh yeah, now, like exactly, you nailed it, man. Where are these people playing?
Yep.
Farmers leagues. Oh yeah,
Yep.
the logic doesn't really add up now, does it?
It doesn't. It doesn't. That's what I'm trying to get across. Like, it's so funny. Like, and there's so many levels to this too, because you know what's funny about it too? I heard people talk about these players about, well, they don't have the loyalty to the team. They don't have the loyalty. They don't have this and that and da. But this is coming from the same fan that shows no loyalty to this player as soon as they hit a bad patch of games. All of a sudden, get him out. He's done. He'll never amount to this. He'll never amount to that. It's one of those things where it's just like we just pick and choose like the line to where we will just say enough is enough, And it's just very interesting because like these same players that we're trying to get moved from the team, we're talking about, it's not like we're saying, oh, well, let's bring in this player because we've seen them perform in this league, It's more so, let's go get this player from this Farmers League that is tearing up the Farmers League. And then they'll come in and be able to deal with, as I was told by oh shoot, I'm trying to remember who made the comment. I want to say James, right? He made the point of saying, oh well, like it only matters because now they're coming and they're going to play with Liverpool and Liverpool's a better team, so that'll make them a better player for this and for that reason. And I'm just like, look, there's so many different variables that you could utilize and probably put out there and kick out there to make your point actually have some merit behind it. But each individual player is different in itself. Let's just be honest with you. I've seen players get crazy acclaim because of their World Cup run, and then when it comes to them playing in a different league with different players from their national team, they perform light years of a difference. Yet, like, there's players out there that have amounted to great things and bad things, but it's just a matter of, you just account for the player to just deal with the what's the words I'm looking for? Has to deal with the circumstances at hand, as in like, are they going to step up and perform at this level or not? That's what it just comes down to. Because I mean, like, I remember there's a player for instance, before we went with his counterpart on the Argentine squad. I remember Enzo was the talk of the town by his performances, And as of late, or just more recently, it was Amrabat, for instance, that was being claimed as being the next, incredible player that everyone needs to has to go and get, And it's just one of those things where it's just like, let's just cool the Jets a little bit.
But also cool. You also have to cool the Jets in the opposite way.
Mm-hmm.
Is let's not assume Enzo is a failure because
I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying Enzo is.
So as well, like
like
Enzo, like who came out apparently yesterday, so he's been playing for 8 months with an injury. Like nobody wanted Caicedo because he was a bum until Jurgen Klopp confirmed it'd be a bid 100 million quid for him, and then everyone was like, "Oh yeah, we got to get that guy."
Yeah,
because they didn't think we were getting him. They were like, "No, let him go to Chelsea. He's not that good." And it's like, "Oh, well, we're in for him." We actually, Klopp has actually said in a bloody press conference, we bid a record fee for the guy. No one can deny it. It's so now everyone thinks he's a brilliant player. Now we don't get him. He goes to Chelsea, doesn't quite work out for him after 5 minutes. And Lavia goes there as well, and he gets injured. Everyone wants to laugh at them and call them, failures and jokes and all that. I can't get on board with that. I don't understand. Like, was he brilliant? He was brilliant 5 years ago, or he was brilliant 5 minutes ago when he knew we were trying to break our transfer record for him. But now we've lost out to Chelsea. Oh, he's a turncoat, and I never want, it's. You got to be realistic about this. So some of these guys we missed out on. I think you can go to one club and you can become one player. Go to another, different player. So I say to Lavia, it's been unfortunate, but everybody wanted them. We didn't get them. Now we want someone else. So it'll be a different guy in 4 or 5 months.
Right.
And everyone will love who we end up with. That's just how it works.
You know what, too?
Hopefully they'll love who we end up with.
No, and I agree with your point. I was going to say, though, testament to what you're saying is, look, there is a guy, he goes content creator, and his name is Kaz. We've had our little back and forths, and for obvious reasons, he's a Red Devil fan. So and being a Red, I kind of call out his BS, especially when it comes on to Red platforms that are Red centric. And one of the points that I kind of like tried to raise him on was, or hold him to measure for, was the fact that he was like saying, for instance, not only Nunez, but let's just move off of that because I don't want to bring up that bag. But with Cody Gakpo, for instance, difference. Manchester United was in the running for getting Cody. They were heavily in the running for getting Cody.
Were. Yeah.
And not only were they in the running, at the time, this content creator was making videos that was bigging up their pursuit of Cody because they believed at the time they were going to be the more likely to obtain Cody Gakpo. As soon as they didn't, all of a sudden, Cody's a bum. Cody can't play. Cody was a waste of money. This, knock from Kaz. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, do you think that we don't have the internet or something? Do you think that we can't just pull up the receipts of you saying the exact opposite of what you're saying now? But they want and love the fact that the majority of them aren't going to be called out for that. They love it. And it's like, it's so incredible because like now it often gets to the point where even our own fan base does it from within now. It's one thing to hear Kaz doing it because you expect that, he would have been he would cat's meows, they say, if they'd gotten him on their squad, but now that he's not, he's a bum, right? But it's the sheer fact that some of our own fan base does the exact same thing in that sense of saying,
you expect it from the Oppo. Yeah, you expect it from the Oppo.
Yeah,
exactly.
Especially when their team's not doing well. first thing they're gonna do is what the neighbours doing. Let's make fun of them,
Right.
so
Let's
we don't
deflect.
talk about our problems. You know, sort your
Yep.
roof out first, bro. You know what I mean?
No, that
Literally,
is
literally,
that is
literally.
forgotten though. That is forgotten. That it gets obviously we picked up Gakpo, yada yada yada, but
Hmm.
it does get forgotten that he was going to Man United.
Yeah.
That the whole everyone remembers when we bought Diaz in January.
Yeah.
And they
He was going
remember
to
that we
Spurs.
didn't just buy him, but we got him off Spurs.
Yep.
But nobody really remember. Nobody. Well, not saying I don't want to speak for anyone, but
Right. We get your saying.
nobody brings up the fact that we didn't just get Gakpo. We also there was Welcome to Manchester videos out there.
Yeah.
Like that's how close that was. They didn't
Yeah.
just they weren't just in. They were like, no, we're getting him
Right. Right.
because
Because
Ten
a lot of
Hag,
content, or not a lot,
Dutch
but there are.
connections.
Right.
Yeah,
There's
the
those
whole thing is,
content
oh no,
creators
we're
that
getting
make
him.
these posts and they're like done deal,
Yeah,
and they
Boom.
have the picture, and it's a picture of the
Yeah.
player, or
No,
it's
boom, we
signed,
steal
sealed, and
this.
delivered, or something like that, and it's not necessarily done, but they're just going off the rumors of trying to get that clickbait. But
No, it's a classic Liverpool move. We just went in and took the player, basically.
Yeah. It's very interesting. It's just so interesting, but but a lot of players, a lot of I expect it from the opposition. I didn't necessarily expect it to be so heavily prevalent amongst our own content creators, or at least those that are out there representing our badge and our shared badge, at least. And that part can be frustrating when I go into those forums thinking that at least we'll have some honest dialogue or discourse. And at the time, I find myself as being like Maximus, looking at all these tigers and lions and tigers, oh my, around me.
Well,
So
yeah. Well, it's the Liverpool space, man. It's Liverpool space.
yeah, yeah. There
You
was
you'll always be the you can be the outlier in a lot of places, but
yeah,
even
certainly.
when you have G on tonight, I think when you boil it down, it's the intentions are the same for most people. It's just the kind of the nuances and things like that. It's just I found it very, like I was saying tonight, it was just eight people who all love the same club, who all want us to win trophies, who all want us to be the best in the world. Like there's not one person on that panel that would say otherwise, that they don't want us to be winning the league, winning Champions League, buying the best players, and having the best manager. None of them could disagree with that. But at the same time, none of them can agree about anything else. And that's what's brilliant about football. That's why, because if everybody just sat there and go, oh, we all agree, right? Yeah, but there's no show. There's no conversation. That's what makes football what it is. It's the fact that it's just about, like, there's two different types of conflict. Classically, there's two different types of conflict. There's people who have you have differing goals and you have shared goals, right?
Right.
People will have conflict because they have shared goals, but they have a different idea how to get there. Or people will have conflict because they have differing goals.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Liverpool fans, it's a classic shared goals conflict. We all want the same thing. We all want to win.
Right.
No one wants us to lose, but we will constantly argue about how we.
At times, that can be debatable, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but for some people.
Yeah.
But we all essentially want us to win. But we'll all consistently argue about it non-stop.
About the path towards, what's the right road to take. Yeah.
Whereas you'd imagine when you listen to it, it's like as if we're on completely diametric paths. It's like, no, it's just crazy what football does to people. It's not like, you want to go east and I want to go west. No, we both want to go west, but we're still going to kill each other on how we're going to get there. That's what football does. That's just what it does, and it will always do that, which is yeah, it's what makes it interesting, I suppose.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what makes it also interesting is that despite the hour, that you guys are still rocking with us. So I appreciate that you guys are joining, despite it being late. It is still something. I guess sometimes you get the adrenaline pumping, and you probably can't go to sleep, or you hear that notification bell hit, and you answer it, which is I do appreciate. Yeah, I'm very interested.
Yeah, I know it is coming in. That is brilliant. Yeah, thanks. I know it is coming in. Amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate that. And look, I just want to make sure that I get that if you were to rank the trophies from 1 to 4 in the sense of the 4 that we go for every year, and that's not including obviously the Community Shield. It's still something of merit or something worth noting in that the League Cup might be the least in priority. I know that JK has the Champions League being 1, then the league, then probably FA Cup, and then the League Cup. You Irishmen have the league being 1, Champions League being 2, I would assume. And then, or does FA Cup come before even the Champions League Cup? I just want to make sure.
Oh God, no.
Okay, I'm just asking.
The idea. No, sorry, no. I just but the idea that we're even getting to rank these.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
It shows you where we are. No, I'm just saying it shows you where we are as a club.
Mm-hmm.
That we can actually just say well, which is more important to us?
Yeah.
That just shows you where we are in. We operate in a different stratosphere to most other clubs.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Which is more important to us, the league or the Champions League?
Absolutely.
Most clubs are get the hell out of here with your stuff.
Do you remember the conversation early January when we were about to go into that matchup against Arsenal, and there are people saying we should rest these players and give up on the FA Cup so that we can concentrate on the league? That was a very big talking point on a lot of stations. I'm not going to say, I don't necessarily want to say people are saying it because some of them I actually do rate and appreciate. So, but I mean, there were some people out there that were saying, hey, you know what? We shouldn't go for the FA Cup. We should rest our players and focus more on winning the league. That was an actual conversation. It's unique, man. It's unique. It's a unique world that you're right, Brian. Unique world and place that we are at, especially with this club, with how, the mindsets go with I've heard people I've heard people go as far as to say if we don't win every cup, every competition that we're in every year, then it's a failure. I've heard people say that, go as far as to say that. And I'm just like, come on. I mean, it's not a failure if you strive to win these cups and you don't. I mean, you got to be in it to win it. That's the biggest concept of what I look at it as, and the sheer fact that we are in these cups or in these competitions now, once again, back into Champions League so that we can compete for the coveted title of champion of Europe. It makes a difference, and that's why we spoke on the 7 titles that they would have been on if City had won in 2019, 2020, which they didn't. They were 18 points behind us. Let me repeat that. They were 18 points. They finished 18 points behind us that year. Technically, even if let's say hypothetically we didn't get our 19 points, we could end up having the same point total that Manchester City did have. If actually we could have the same point total, if not more, than City had in that year that we won with 99 points. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild that some people don't put the respect on that year. I know they want to downplay it by saying it was the COVID year. We'd already had the league wrapped up by the time that they started applying the COVID restrictions, by the way, you know? And that's just, again, why it's so frustrating when you deal with some of these narratives that get thrown out there and you hear your own fan base like giving it breath. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Stop. Put some respect on that league, on that year that we won. That year we were just at one point I thought unbeatable. Obviously, we lost 3 games that year. 3.
Yeah,
Absolutely
no, that's
Absolutely
just like I don't know. That was just our luck, I suppose. I'm not saying we're unlucky. I mean,
right.
Nobody can. I mean,
Or Lucas Leiva,
unlucky. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, typical Liverpool," unlucky. I mean, we've more trophies than almost every other club on the planet. We're not unlucky. We're a lucky club.
If anything, people would probably say that we've been lucky at times.
No, we are lucky to support the club that we support.
Yeah.
Most seriously, this is a ridiculous number of trophies that we have. But to wait that long and for it to happen with no fans in a fucking stadium in a once-off lifetime event, that was a proper kick in the balls, because talk about like this year, the air going out of the balloon to get there, and like you said, it wasn't about the COVID thing. That league was done and dusted, and to just be doing it in front of an empty stadium.
Yeah, that hurts.
It really stings. That stings like pretty much no other, and that's why I think, I don't know, but a little bit of this Klopp never really did much, kind of, forgetting this and forgetting that, because there wasn't this big thing that everyone remembers. But yeah, for it to just land like that, we take the league. Of course we took the league. We want that title. We take it. We'll take it all day long.
Yeah.
Fans, no fans, but yeah, that really sticks in the craw. That one.
It does. It does.
Really,
and I think that it hurts even more that I expect rivals to use it. I'm even to the point where I expect neutrals to use that as a ploy at some times, even though I don't understand a lot of the neutrals' perspectives, because a lot of them aren't even sniffing the opportunities that we have at winning titles the way that we have been in at least competing for the titles. But
for the fans not to be able to celebrate it,
that's a gut punch.
Yeah, for the fans not to be able to celebrate it, waiting so long.
Yeah.
With this manager, we didn't even we won a Champions League, but we did that on foreign soil, as part. But to not be able to celebrate it, those fans that waited so long missed out on so much. And to actually have it, that's such a bizarre scenario. It's like, it happened, but they didn't get to witness it. They didn't get to go to the stadium. So, I think it will, when you look back on it, we can have that buffer of it was Man City. But just one more, in front of the fans would have been amazing, which is, I think, maybe the biggest letdown from this season. And it's not a letdown because we tried our best. We did try our best. We just got caught short in the end. But I think when people look back, there will be a tinge of regret on this.
There will be, and there'll be plenty of narratives that.
But even if we were to get
different reasons.
Trophies, but even if we were to, I was going to ask you two guys, if we were to get, say, 2 leagues retrospectively, because of the 105, would that make it better?
If we had gotten our second league, I think it would have definitely made it better.
But no, say in 2 years' time, right? We get handed a league title.
Mhm.
because their court case eventually gets sorted out.
Oh, meaning
They
like
get
as
found
in,
guilty.
yeah,
Yeah,
let's say
no,
we get,
retrospective trophies. That's what I'm saying. In 2 years' time,
I got
like
you.
Inter Milan got them, right?
Right.
So someone says, no, actually, Liverpool, you won 3 Premier League titles, but they were from 8 years ago.
I think that would put,
Would
yes,
that
I
make
think
it any better? I mean,
I have
it's
an
like
answer for that.
celebrating
I
a
think
goal
so.
an hour later.
You know
It's
what?
like
I know it's a
celebrating.
dollar. What they say is it's a dollar late and a dollar short or something like that, or something along those lines.
Yeah,
But like,
like Inter got 2 titles like that, and they
no,
like
and I
those
get
Inter
that
fans celebrated the shit out of it. Those Inter fans were like, "Yeah, we will take them," because they
because
hate
it's
you.
redemption for those fans. It would be
But
redemption for
so
me.
that's what I'm asking for you,
Yes,
and that's what I'm interested to hear. What
yes.
would you say?
I would
Making
be.
and doing?
I would have no problem saying that. You know what? It shows that context means something. We're talking about Chelsea, for instance, and I'm gonna land my point here. We're talking about Chelsea, who were possibly, I think they were the most winning, club in the 2010 to 2000 to 2010 reign, I think it was, or was it 2010 to 2020? One of those decades. They were
Oh yeah,
the
yeah, most successful club in England since but yeah, you're right. Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
So
you're bang.
right. So during that era, now that the new administration has taken over and they've had to report on them, they had to snitch basically on themselves. It's been found out that they were cheating the entire time during that run. And we still don't know what kind of, sanction or, penalties they're going to have to pay for those years. But you sit there and you go, okay, this team who had more money than most of the clubs in Europe, not only did they have that enormous wealth and utilize it, but they cheated while they had that financial advantage. And that resulted in, not saying that they still had to go out on the pitch and play and everything else, but tell me, if every time we're playing Monopoly and I get to grab a couple of 500s from the bank while you're just grabbing 200, and then you sit there and you wonder how I am starting to own all the valuable properties on the board, wouldn't you eventually say, wait a minute, is this fair? Is this cool? And if you ended up beating me still while I'm cheating, is that not even a more incredible accomplishment? That you were cheating and I still beat you to a title? I still beat you for this or for that? To me, that says enormous amounts. And then you move on to City, who is then, after Chelsea, became the next heir apparent, who took the privileges, or the liberties, I should say, to go about and stack their team with like under the table payments to the coaches, to players, to creating false or allegedly creating allegedly before too, but allegedly, make sure, allegedly creating advertisers that don't even exist, inflating the prices that they're getting from these advertisers so that they can cook the books, in essence, allegedly. And those teams created super teams that we had to compete with during that time and era. And we at least won one, if not came very close to winning 2 others. And you want to tell me that finally having your day in court and you end up getting justified in saying that you were cheated? Here's your prize? Hell's yeah, I'm going to take that. Hell's yeah. And I'm going to say, look, context is a mofo. I'm sure we're never going to get back the privilege of seeing a parade during that time. We're never going to get the privilege of going around with and feeling so empowered and so proud of our team's accomplishments at that moment. We're not going to get that back. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to make sure that you understand that what you did was wrong. And the reason why is that you can look and say whatever you want, the way you want to spin it. You're still a cheater. You're a cheater. I'm sure that, there's plenty of Lance Armstrong at one time was coveted as being the greatest cyclist of not only of his era, but possibly of all time. And when it came out he cheated, where is he now? Where is his legacy now?
Yeah, but he didn't just get like that's the extra thing you see, because he came out and fought everybody.
Yeah.
Like
That's what
he
City's
didn't
doing.
just come out and deny stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly. This is what City are doing. And he didn't they aren't kind of doing what he did as much. But one of the guys that exposed him is an Irish journalist who he literally was like at the forefront of this guy is basically taking the piss, lads.
Mm-hmm.
And he came out first of all, and he's like he was one of the main guys, and Armstrong tried to destroy his life, like literally
Yeah, I
tried
bet
to
he did.
destroy his life.
Yeah, I bet he did. And he had more, and he probably had the money to do so too.
Exactly. Armstrong just, until pretty much Armstrong, what he was doing was just got beyond control, where it all got out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if it had been 10 years later, this Irish journalist would have been just like, he never would have worked again.
Yeah.
He would have been completely destroyed. So
Yeah.
City are coming out and trying to do the same thing, but
Yep.
they can't quite do that because there's not one guy. It's not like they've been exposed by. It's not a Watergate thing. It's not a Woodward and Bernstein thing. It's just like, they can't go after, but they are kind of come out and try and knock it all back. They said like these fucking morons. They said it at the start years ago. They said,
"Yeah,
you can come after us if you want. We'll tie you up in court for 10 years."
Yeah, tied up in court.
Yeah, and this guy, this braggadocious motherfucker, comes out and says, "We have more money than FIFA," or he said, "Sorry, we have more money than UEFA. We can hire better lawyers than UEFA." He came out and he said that. He didn't realize where he was.
Mm-hmm.
He thought him saying that in his place where he's used to doing business, his country where he's from, would have been applauded. That would have been like, yes, very good thing to say. Yes. Come to England and say that? No. You've just made yourself sound extremely guilty, my friend. Like just made yourself sound extremely guilty.
Can I ask you a question?
But this is from day one, dude. This is 10 years ago. These guys basically came out and said, we're fucking around here.
But I was going to say, you know what's scary about that is that not only your point is spot on, accurate as anything, but what was scary about it is that there were journalists saying that. There were journalists coming out and saying as if
red flags.
It just doesn't matter what happens. They know that they have more money than the Premier League, so who cares in essence? Like, as in the way that they were reporting it was saying, like, he's right.
You don't.
We already know that this is going to end up being a win for them one way or another, whether they kick the can down the road or not. They're going to end up winning this because they've got more money. And that's what the journalists were saying. And I was like, do your job, journalist. Do your job. That was a disappointment. I was very, 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 very ashamed of the journalistic corps when they were taking that tact of not really just putting out, hey, why are they saying that? Why are they, no one goes and, if anything, I know for myself, I would rather have myself vindicated as quickly as possible rather than have that linger until you quote unquote forget about what it was I did, whatever year that it happened. That's the mentality that I hear when I see someone try to go with that approach. And I mean, we're dealing with it. I'm dealing with it here in America with, you know, the politics here and there and such. I'm not going to go down that line or anything like that. But, you know, that's why I get and say, yeah, if you're innocent, prove your innocence, man. Here's your day in court. Have it.
I'm innocent, and I guarantee, I will prove it by tying you up in court for 10 years.
Exactly.
Like I don't want this accusation that I am extremely horrendously offended by. I don't want that tidied up and sorted out immediately. I'm going to do you. I'm going to spend 10 years in court arguing.
Yep.
About it.
Yep.
Okay, so you have the
that's
world's best lawyers,
Mm-hmm.
right? But this like you're sitting here saying this is a massively offensive thing that you can say against me. But you have the world's best lawyers,
Mm-hmm.
but your tact is say, I'm going to time bar this. I'm going to wait 10 years to do it. I'll tie you up in court. Why don't you just like prove yourself innocent?
Why don't you prove you say you got all this like evidence that'll vindicate you,
Yeah.
you know, and then why don't you just show it then? Stop talking about it.
I'm the one outside court saying, "Come on, let's get this case done. Let's get this over in 5 minutes.
Let's just get this over with.
I can prove you all wrong, and I can prove
Right.
all like conspiracy in 5 minutes. I have all the numbers, I have all the papers. Let's get it done." It's like, no. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hire 20 of the world's most expensive lawyers, and then just throw red tape at shit for 8 years.
Yep.
Because that's what innocent people do.
Right. And that's what our quote unquote beautiful game needs.
Yeah, that's what innocent people who have nothing to hide, that's what they do.
Right.
They hire the world's most expensive legal lawyers and
figure out a way to make this
they spent 2 years arguing about where the court is going to be held.
Yeah.
And another 4 years arguing about who the jury are.
Yeah.
And another 4 years, because that's what innocent people do.
Yeah. And not only that,
have you watched that?
Have you watched JK too? Have you watched the review? There's a couple of different pieces out there that actually talk about the first case that ended up going to is it Cass, I want to say, right? And like basically it talks about how it's a 3-judge panel and how the judges were picked, okay? And how like basically what it ended up being is the Prem got to pick one, and then Manchester City picked the other two, in essence. Okay. That sounds fair. That sounds real fair. All right. It's an interesting piece. If you listen and look at what was going on, if you look at some of the emails, the alleged emails that were WikiLeaks out in a sense, like the same WikiLeaks kind of concept. Yes. Like if you really get to that stage and era of the conversation of what we're dealing with, heck yeah, I'm gonna say to myself, not only do I either that title is null and void, or that title or that title becomes ours, but one way or another, that title does not belong to you. You can't cheat and then say, yeah, but that doesn't matter. I'm still like it, because if anything, that just says, well, then more people, why not just take the chance of cheating? And if you get caught, who cares? You still got the titles, you know? So I know. Do you look at it a different way, JK? Because we're going to end after this point.
Yeah, like the bigger picture of the football world from top to bottom is just corrupt, you know. Look at the fans. Yeah. Even Liverpool fans, you know, some of them acting all corrupt and dodgy, you know. It's like, what's happening to the beautiful game, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel
it's why I didn't want a nation state as a ownership group. For a club.
Yeah,
I think one of the worst things that they ever did was like allowing for the nation state to be involved in the leagues, because you're not. It's one thing if you're dealing with the egos of some of these billionaires. I get that, but if you're dealing with someone that is in essence a king or a sheik, or or some whatever their official quote unquote title is as the ruler of a country, that's a whole different concept. Whole different concept. You can run and hide if you're a possible billionaire. You could try to run and hide if you're a possible billionaire. Interpol or whatever will come after you, but it's a lot more difficult of a process when you run a state, you run an actual country.
Yeah, the problem with that is the main problem with that is that if a country buys your club, then your club stands for what that country stands for.
Yes, very
that
much so.
Country stands for some really fucked up shit.
Yes,
well,
absolutely. And one of the major reasons why they're buying these clubs is to what they call sports washing, in the sense of just being able to. The reason why, and again, I know Brian, I have a different concept on some of this, but one of the major reasons why they buy these clubs is to, hey, you'll lighten your tone towards a country or an actual regime if that regime is winning you Premier Leagues.
Yeah.
It's that simple. All of a sudden,
no. This is
you'll look the other way.
Yeah, no, this is 100%. No, this is yeah, no, sorry, no, this is like I can, it is. That's what this is. This is what it's been since. Well, it's all sports washing has always existed, but this is.
But more so than not, it's more prevalent now, or more noticeable, more relevant and noticeable.
Well, it started basically. It's all again, it can go back to '78 in Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
You go back to but sports washing is something that's become a public thing now that people know about.
Yeah.
And people go, what's sports washing? It's like, it's not sports washing. It's not this. It's not that. It's like, no, it's live golf. It's, I mean, the fact that that even baffles me. But it's Saudi Arabia buying Newcastle.
Yeah.
What more do you want to know? That's like they don't care about football. It's Qatar having a World Cup. It's Russia having a World Cup in 2018.
Yep. Absolutely.
I'm not trying to undercut your point, but
it took an invasion for us.
But
it took an invasion by Russia. It took an invasion by Russia for them to finally say, you know what? Maybe we should take a look at where Roman's getting his money from.
Exactly, but what I'm saying is, and I'm not trying to cut, but it's just anybody out there listening, anybody even still, I don't know, it's very late now, but anybody out there doesn't know what sports washing is, then please, give your head a wobble.
Yeah,
please, because this is, you should know. It should be it should be part of the dictionary of football right now, and that's why I never want that stuff to happen. Like, I'm just glad that we've run out of rich countries that are bothered to buy clubs, because they're not going to buy us now.
Right.
Because no one's richer than Saudi, and they got Newcastle. Well,
but there was the verge of, and this is again, there was the verge of Manchester United being bought out, and they not again, your Kazes and all these other guys that were working, they were all on board for having a chic owner.
Yeah, who wants to be now? You've got like the guy who owns PSG, the guy who owns City, the guy who owns fucking Saudi, and the guy who would own Man United. They're all the same.
Yeah.
So who cares now? But if FFP and all this stuff comes in, these guys are going to get a big kick in the arse, because
they're going to get a wake up call that their money. It doesn't matter how much money you have. You
got a shitty little commercial.
Mini
club like Newcastle.
You got to figure out a way to. Yeah, you got to figure out a way to make money. You got to figure out a way, and the way that City utilized the loose FFP, regulate, and not loose in the regulations, but applying the rules of FFP during those times, and not being properly, educate or just properly, judged because of that
anymore.
No, they
City
don't.
blew the game open.
They don't.
Can't do that anymore.
Now all of a sudden, City's playing a lot more by the
The
books.
rules. Yeah.
Guess what? Yeah. This shit is starting
And
to bite, lads.
because they're
It's
like,
starting to
hey,
bite.
we already got our spoils.
Yeah, but perfect timing for our owners not to put their hands in the pocket for a DM in January.
Yeah,
Perfect timing.
yeah,
Well,
You know?
okay, well, okay, JK, that's a bit
yeah.
salty,
Got you.
man. Okay,
I got
that's
That's
a
true,
bit
bro.
salty, man.
No,
I
no,
got you.
come on.
Okay.
Normally we buy in January, you know. No one. That was the lowest net.
No one bought
Lowest
in
spend.
January.
Exactly,
Yeah,
Like,
exactly
come
that.
on.
But if you look at it from the previous one,
Yeah.
it went from
the
like
previous.
800 million the previous January
Yeah.
to
Yep.
like 50 million.
50 quid down the. You know what I mean? It's just
Yep.
like. But
But
for me,
Everton getting hit twice, Forest getting
Mhm.
hit twice. This shit is
Yep.
kicking in. People don't realize this shit is starting to happen. This FFP is real now.
Yeah, and it's
If
the
you're
reason
not
why
a billion,
they,
you can't
yeah,
spend it. If you don't
you
have it,
can't
you
spend it
can't
if you don't
spend it.
have it. You can't spend it if you don't have it. There's the Wild Wild West that was, the years, those decades of Roman and the decades of the early chic days of City. They're gone. And if anything, if they're not lucky, they will meet their day in court and get hopefully get properly sanctioned. Because if anything, I'd rather have a league that looked at itself and said, you know what, I get it's a PR nightmare, but all the same, at least we can hold our heads up in some type of respect or pride, knowing that we said we were wrong. We were greedy or wrong or whatever you want to call it, but they were wrong. I hope that if the case comes out that way, then I hope that they're proper with it, that they don't all of a sudden figure out a way for they don't get greedy and say, oh, just pay us money, pay us a fine to a club that possibly had impacted, because of their cheating, impacted clubs that got relegated, or impacted clubs that ended up not going on to Europe, or impacted clubs.
That's the tsunami. That's the tsunami, you see, because that's where
tsunami.
you have to
Exactly.
stop.
Yeah.
You just have to say, look, yeah, Jake, you get to say, okay, well, where do you stop?
Yeah, I get it. No, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just have to say, right, look, we're just going to do this.
Yeah.
Because if we do that, then it's a yada. And
It's a long thing.
ending.
It's going, it gets ugly.
So that's why I'm always like for basically, fuck them. Number one, fuck them. Because they're cheating bastards, right? We all
Right.
know that.
This is the after hours version of 12th Man.
Yeah, no, just fuck them. Yeah,
Late night.
right. But after that, I don't want any retrospective bullshit just because of that stuff, right? Because if we get it, then they get it. But what I will say is, strip them of their titles.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay,
Absolutely.
so you strip them, but I don't want redistribution, because then if we get it, like you say, well, if Liverpool would have been champions, then we would have finished second, and we would have gotten the Champions League. Yeah, okay, so look, that's just too messy. Let's just be all grown up about it and go. They were cheating. They got caught. Okay, we don't need to spend the next 10 years arguing about who finished second and third and fourth. Strip them of their titles and show them, take everything away from them, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need it to be redistributed, and that's just worse. So move on. But yes, they have to have anything that they had. As Alfie put it before, it was a sporting advantage that they gained, so it should be a sporting punishment. So the sporting punishment, I don't care about, don't fine them 100 million quid. That doesn't matter. They won leagues by cheating, so take their leagues away. Okay,
That's the best way to do it.
Everyone, Wipe their league titles off the record books. Find them. I don't care. I don't want their league titles. West Ham don't want their Champions League place that they missed out on 8 years ago. What will that matter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So look, take everything away from them that they won illegally and start again, and just whatever other little side orders you want with it, fine.
Relegate them.
But
yeah.
But strike off their titles.
Right.
And that's it. That's all. That will be enough for me. If somehow someone stuck an extra 2 on our total of league titles, okay, not gonna argue with it.
Not gonna argue with you
for it. Yeah, not gonna fight about it. But number one, take theirs.
Yeah. There was one other part and point. What you just said just sparked one last point. I was going to end this stream like 15 minutes ago, but there was something that JK and I sent it to JK, and because we were talking about a particular subject, and but it's something that I don't know if I sent it to you, Irishman, or not, but it was about referees, okay, and I want to see
my favorite subject. Yeah.
Yes, I know. So this is a short. Let me see if I can get this. So tell me if you can hear this. Hopefully, because I'm going to be obviously playing. I'm just going to play the audio. I'm not going to play the actual.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Short. But let me see.
Getting older, so I thought, right, I decided to play a little game.
Can you hear that?
Kind of. I'm okay. Can you hear it, JK?
Can you hear it?
Just a little bit louder would be better.
Yeah, sure. Let me see if I can get
it.
Yeah,
turn it up. Yeah, turn it up.
And I'm gonna turn my own microphone up a little bit just for this segment here, because you got to hear this, and I know that JK can attest to because we went back and forth for a little bit over about this audio that was a part of this actual take.
But the video would make it like when I seen the characters involved, it just made it look better. It just made it better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If I can get this to be loud enough. Okay. Let me see if this does it for you guys here. I'll get it as close to the mic as I can. All right. Here's a segment, and hopefully you're able to hear it. I'm gonna play right now.
Getting older, so I thought, right, I decided to play a little game with it. If you Walsall centre off, and I've got player. 5 minutes later, the fullback's had a dig at him. It's the day. Player, and he looks at me again. And third time, nothing was it. Player, he said, "What the fucking hell are you doing?" Suddenly, Walsall's players realised that they'd got free hand to assault, and they've started to go for it big time. I'm thinking, I'm going to have to rein this in and give a free kick and sort this out anyway. 3 players from Walsall went in all at the same time, and he must have been about 6 foot off the ground at the top of it, and I'm just about to blow, and he's at the top of this arc and he shouts, "I'm doing it, ref, fucking play on!"
So that was referee Kevin Lynch speaking about an Ian Wright conflict or incident. Hopefully you're able to hear it. I know there was a little bit of music in the background too. I don't barely hearing anything. Okay, so basically, I'll give you the take, MK sorry, and I apologize because I don't know how else to get it other than actually showing the actual short, and I might get a check mark against me if I do that. But basically what it was is Kevin Lynch was talking about a game where he refereed against Ian Wright. And hey, wait, 12, you gotten softer overall. So he was talking about Ian Wright, and he was saying about how in this game, I think it was against Middlesbrough, did he say, right?
I couldn't hear goddamn thing.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, in the take, and JK can back me up on if I get any of the points wrong. Basically, he was going on about how in the game he was going to have a little bit of fun. He said he's going to have a little bit of fun with this. And in the game, Arsenal's Ian Wright was going up against, again, I think it was Middlesbrough. I'll double check once I finish the story. And in this match, he got fouled. And he goes, no, play on. And he got fouled again. Play on. And eventually, it was so bad, and these tackles were so rash and terrible, okay, where they were just at the point where they could have injured Ian Wright, okay? He goes and notices that the other team, Warsaw, it might have been Walsall.
Yeah, I think it was Warsaw, yeah.
Okay, Walsall, okay. He goes and says, oh, they figured it out. I'm having a laugh here, right? Like, they're going to go at Ian Wright and try to literally, and this is during that era when they would literally take a player out with no qualms given. They're like, let's go take out Ian Wright because this referee's not calling anything. So 3 players converged and literally tackled him all at once. And he said he was like 6 feet in the air practically. He was obviously, embellishing that a little bit, but he was like up in the air. And like when it came down, Ian Wright stands up and says, no, I got this one. Play on, right? And like the guys, the referee, they're all laughing. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, that is the PGMOL in a nutshell. Yeah. If you think that kind of mentality doesn't somewhat resonate with what we've seen with some of these referees today, absolute joke. Yeah. And it would probably happen more so back then, considering you didn't have nearly the amount of cameras and the attention, on every interaction that you had going on. Mm-hmm. But we lost Brian. I would have loved to have heard his take. But JK, you remember when I sent you that?
Yo, when I seen that, it sort of summed up what British football's been over the years.
Yeah.
Just referees, say, born in Manchester, British guys. That's why I've said getting foreign managers in for the Premier League would be a good idea.
Yeah. I'll put the link, by the way, in the actual. That's the link to the short. So if you guys want to, like check out the short or what I was actually referencing, that's the actual. Brian had to leave because his battery just died. So yeah, cool. Big up to Brian. Thank you for joining us. Big up, Brian. We'll be back tomorrow, obviously, but that's the link if you want to go check it out.
Check it out.
Wasn't that incredible, JK?
Yeah, it was a good video.
Like you hear them laughing.
Yeah.
They're laughing at the fact that this referee decided to just, why not have a laugh today? You know what? Let me go. Ian Wright thinks he's all big and bad. You know what? Let's take him down a notch.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to the point of saying it was racially motivated or something along those lines, but I will go to say that it is incredibly, incredibly horrible that you represent referees and you're telling this story as if, hey, it's just another day. It's just another day as being a referee in the Premier League.
And you were saying happened a long time ago?
I think it happened I want to say... I want to say I can find out what year it was.
But it happened a few weeks ago against West Ham when Gapco could have gone for the ball and the referee's telling the goalkeeper to sit down.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So it's still happening today, bro. Gapco could have put the ball in the back of the net, but he didn't do it because the goalie took it out to kick, do a little kick or whatever.
I'm trying to find out when it was. When was the
98, 99
it was
season.
Walsall, by the way. Yeah, I'll find out the actual date for that, but yeah, it was Walsall, and so I guess you could either look back to when they played him in the league. This is when he was at Arsenal. You could, I guess, date back to when they played him in the league or when he's referencing the actual. So I don't have a description per se, other than it was Kevin Lynch was the actual referee. But it just goes to tell you and show you that, like, it's absolutely a disgrace sometimes that people don't put context behind things. And if you allow for things to just be like, oh, that's just the way it is, or oh, that's just the way, oh, that's what it is. That's
what it is. Yeah. That's why the world is the way it is right now, because people just do that.
Yeah, it might well, in the actual piece, it might be Arsenal, it might be West Ham, by the way. I don't know what the actual, he mentions that it was Walsall that they were playing against, but if you watch the clip, there's pictures of him in an actual West Ham kit, and there's pictures of him actually in a Arsenal kit. So and it doesn't give an actual date as to when he was referencing from in the description, but with a little bit of I guess investigation, we could all probably figure it out which game it was that he was talking about. But it's just sad.
Football was tough for black players in them days.
Yeah.
No favoritism from the refs, no protection from the refs.
Yeah.
So it's mad.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. But that's just, I was hoping that I would have had also I would have liked to have had it for him as well. I just trying to see if there's anything I could see about that game particular. It might have been 1999, possibly 1999. I'll look it up for you guys. I'll bring it back for you. I'll see if, what we can do about. I'll make a It's kind of tough because it has some type of music behind it a little bit. So yeah, if you guys get the chance to watch it on your own, that'd be great, so that you know what we're referencing. But I'll even bring it back up. It was really, really an interesting piece, a real interesting short. But all the same, I know it's late. I appreciate you, JK. I'm surprised your phone battery hasn't died as well. But big up and thank you for joining me today.
Bless, bro.
We're definitely going to be doing that episode that we have with the half kit episode. I'm talking about. I'm not going to give too much away, but we need to do that as soon as the season ends. I want to do that episode with what we had to deal with today. But all the same, thank you for joining me today. Thank you in the chat for rocking with us, whether you're overseas or whether you're on this side of the hemisphere or the other side of the hemisphere. Thank you. Whether you're watching this on replay, thank you. Big up for always the loyalty and the amount of pure class and just and brilliance, I call it, to support this channel. Big up. It's very few words that I can find that will give the actual appreciation that it's due. But big up and thank you guys for doing so and continuously putting it out there to get the message out there, to share, help this channel grow to the point where we're one of the juggernauts that can beat back some of this BS that we have to contend with. But all the same, You want to say something to the people before we bounce out, though, and allow for them to go into their own destinations if this isn't the final one?
No, just enjoy Klopp's last few days at the club
Yeah,
and look forward to Sunday's game.
yeah, definitely. Big up to each and every one of you, each and every time. We will see you tomorrow. We will be doing a broadcast more on the lines of the 7 o'clock hour. This was just an after hours display of the Liberal Talk Man show, but all the same,
Late
I'm
night.
asking for you to take care of yourselves, continue to take care of yourselves so that you can take care of your loved ones in your lives, so they can continuously have that, continuous circle of love, circle of like appreciation, circle of support going on. And as always, up the Reds, guys. Up the Reds. Peace. See you tomorrow.